Chapter 54. Flying demonic beasts were forbidden in Danding City. This was a rule from a long time ago, mainly for the sake of safety. The city was close to the wilderness, so demonic beasts were bound to invade. The demonic beasts on the ground would have time to organize a defense, but flying demonic beasts were more dangerous and needed to be controlled in advance. Therefore, flying demonic beasts were not allowed in the city. Danding City was thousands of miles wide, so it was very inconvenient to walk back and forth in the city. Fortunately, there were beast carriages to travel. After exiting the inn, they found a beast carriage and rushed towards the place where the Extreme Heaven Tower was located. Only one, F_genuine edition, others /$9 are pirated editions. After about 2 hours, the two finally arrived at the Tianji Tower near the mayor's mansion. The Tianji Tower's pavilion was very imposing, almost comparable to the mayor's mansion. Two strange beast statues were guarding the door. Night Sorrow recognized them at a glance. They were ferocious spirit beasts with ancient bloodlines. They were called Yifun. "Come, let's go in." Emo-chin brought Yishang through the gate of the Extreme Celestial Tower. Entering the main hall of the Celestial Terminus Tower, a tall woman wearing a tight purple dress came. Her black hair draped down to her waist, and her eyes were like autumn waves that could see through one's heart. This woman could be said to be an outstanding beauty, capable of causing the downfall of countries and people. However, Night Sorrow took a step back. He could feel that this woman was dangerous. 13. Emo-chin looked at Night Sorrow. He felt that the moment the woman came up, Night Sorrow's muscles tightened, ready to fight. "I'm fine." Night Sorrow's body trembled, and the reincarnation spear on his back was in a position where it could be used at any time. The woman looked at Emo-chin and asked, "Tianji Tower is at your service. May I ask what grade of token do you have?" "Give my junior martial brother a black iron token. I have a bronze token." Emo-chin took out his Qing Tong token and showed it to the woman. "This way, please." The woman in the purple dress brought Emo-chin to a private room on the second floor. She first asked about Night Sorrow's identity, then got up and left to apply for a black iron order for Night Sorrow. "Junior brother, what's wrong?" Emo-chin looked at Night Sorrow and asked. When the purple-clothed woman appeared, Night Sorrow's state changed. "This woman is dangerous," Night Sorrow said. "Well, the staff of Tianji Tower are not simple. I can't see through this woman's cultivation. The previous staff were not like this." Emo-chin was also a little confused. "What's senior brother's cultivation?" Night Sorrow asked. In the past, Night Sorrow would not ask about such things. Now, he wanted to estimate the cultivation level of this woman. "Peak stage 3, Emo-chin said. "If that's the case, then this woman's cultivation is at least stage 4. How can a staff member of Tianji Tower have such a terrifying cultivation?" Night Sorrow was shocked. "That's not right. It wasn't like this before. This woman is indeed very mysterious," Emo-chin said after thinking for a while. Emo-chin looked at Night Sorrow and said, "If you didn't say it, I wouldn't have thought much of it. Isn't it nonsense for a person above stage 4 to be an ordinary staff member?" 11th senior brother, I don't understand what you're saying, but I feel that she is very dangerous. Just now, she was hostile towards me and could have threatened my life," Night Sorrow said. "Don't worry. Tianji Tower is very law-abiding. Besides, this is Danding City. They won't mess around," Emo-chin said. In a room on the first floor of Tianji Tower, the purple-clothed woman looked out the window and drank tea. Beside her, an old man was busy recording something. The purple-clothed woman said to the old man, "This Yishang is worthy of being recorded. His cultivation base is pitifully low, but his essence, energy, and spirit are not to be underestimated. In addition, his vigilance is extremely high. Just now, he had only probed a little before he made preparations to attack." The old man stood up and nodded. Then, the woman took the black iron order and went to the room where Emo-chin and Night Sorrow were. She placed the black iron order in front of Night Sorrow. "Are the two of you here to accept a mission or to give a mission?" the purple-clothed woman asked, but her eyes fell on Night Sorrow more often than not. "How should I address you?" Emo-chin asked. "Just call me Seikon." The purple-clothed woman nodded slightly. Well, this is my junior brother. He wants to do some missions. Can you show us the black iron missions? Emochin asked. Sikong touched her waist and a few beast parchments appeared in her hand. She placed a black one in front of Night Sorrow and Emochin. After looking at it, Night Sorrow chose a mission to kill a bloodthirsty wolf. The bloodthirsty wolf was a demonic beast at the peak of rank 1. The difficulty of the mission was that bloodthirsty wolves lived in packs. Some time ago, a bloodthirsty wolf attacked a caravan. The wife of a medicinal merchant was killed by a bloodthirsty wolf, so the medicinal merchant offered a reward. After choosing, Night Sorrow continued to look. He saw another mission that was more suitable for him. It was to go to the Black Forest Mountain to collect black irongrass. Black irongrass was a low-grade material, but it was needed for alchemy and weapon forging. After choosing these two missions, Night Sorrow handed the mission blueprint to Sikong. The requirement to kill a bloodthirsty wolf is 1 month. There is no time limit for collecting black irongrass. The purple-clothed woman, Sikong, said after receiving the mission blueprint. Thank you for telling me. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Sikong. If there is nothing else, I will go back to work. You can enjoy your tea here. Sikong nodded at Night Sorrow and left. Junior brother, you're right. This woman isn't an ordinary staff member. I can confirm that she's not wearing a treasure to hide her cultivation. Her cultivation is higher than mine. Emochin said with certainty. When I came in, I also saw the other staff members. Those women were very humble. Although this purple-clothed woman was also very polite, her pride was still there. She was just being polite to us. She did not hurt her dignity. Night Sorrow nodded. You're right. You observed very carefully. This woman's temperament is not something that can be cultivated in a short time. She is definitely from a big family. Let's not care about this. Let's go back and see how to complete the mission. Emochin stood up and left the room with Night Sorrow. The two of them left the room and went out of Tianji Tower. 13. Wait for me here. I'll go call for a beast carriage. Emochin went to call for a beast carriage after instructing Yishang. The flow of people in Tianji Tower was very large, but beast carriages were not allowed to stop near the gate. Yishang's mind was still filled with the image of the purple-clothed woman, Sikong. Sikong was too beautiful, so beautiful that it was breathtaking. Her tall and curvy body was very tempting, but Yishang wasn't thinking about that. He felt that Sikong was young, but to be able to cultivate to the 4th level, her strength was definitely terrifying. Hey, you country bumpkin is also here? A very frivolous voice interrupted Night Sorrow's thoughts. Looking up, Night Sorrow saw Qin Zhan, Qin Hai, and a few other youths. Glancing at Qin Hai, Night Sorrow did not speak. He was too lazy to deal with people like Qin Hai. It is easy to die doing a mission here at the 7th level of Qi refining. I think you should go back to Taishan Peak and obediently feed your tamed beasts. Looking at Night Sorrow, Qin Hai said with a smile. Chapter 55. Looking up, Night Sorrow saw Qin Zhan, Qin Hai, and a few other young men. Glancing at Qin Hai, Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He couldn't be bothered to deal with people like Qin Hai. Looking at Night Sorrow, Qin Hai said with a smile, 7th Qi refining stage, doing a mission here is easy to die. I think you should go back to Taishan Peak and obediently feed your tamed beasts. In the Medicine Valley, those who passed the test would become outer disciples after entering the sect. After that, they would temper their temperament. Normally, they would feed the tamed beasts and clean the mountain gate with the servants. Junior brother Qin, why are you talking to a guy who feeds his tamed beasts? He's born a lowly bastard. He won't have any future. A young man in a brocade robe standing beside Qin Zhan said. What did you say? Night Sorrow was furious. His right hand grabbed the reincarnation spear from his back and directly held it in his hand. Night Sorrow could tolerate normal insults, but to insult his parents, whom he had never met, Night Sorrow couldn't tolerate it. I said you're a lowly bastard. Don't you understand? The young man in brocade robe said with a smile. You're courting death. Night Sorrow's body trembled. He waved his right hand and was about to attack. Just as Night Sorrow was about to attack, a figure appeared in front of Night Sorrow and blocked his attack. It was Emochin. Emochin came back and blocked Night Sorrow's attack. "Senior brother, get out of the way." Night Sorrow's eyes emitted a cold light and was about to attack again. "Let me do it. I'm sure you'll be satisfied." Emochin patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. "Who are you?" The young man in brocade robe looked at Emochin with a trace of seriousness in his eyes. "I'll give you two choices. One is to kneel down and apologize. The other is to die." Emochin said coldly. He also wanted to attack now, but Danding City had its own rules. Aside from the battle arena and the martial arts arena, no fighting was allowed in the city. "Do you know who I am? My grandfather is the city lord of Danding City, Ao Yushan. In this city, only I can kill others. Do you understand?" The young man in the brocade robe smiled when he heard Emochin's words. At the same time, he waved his hand behind him. There were several guards behind him. "Ao Yushan, do you think I'm afraid of him? Let me tell you, if you don't kneel down and apologize now, not only will you die, but before you die, I will let you see the scene of your grandfather being pulled down from his position as the city lord." Emochin coldly looked at the brocade-robed young man, Ao Yushan's grandson, Ao Lai. Qin looked at Emochin and said, "This one, aren't your words a bit too much? Scram. Do you have the right to speak?" Emochin threw out a word. "Go to the city lord's mansion and call for people." Ao Lai instructed the guard behind him. Seeing that Qin was being scolded, he felt somewhat uncertain in his heart. "My master is Tianyue Peak's Luo Daoyuan. For you." Unable to see through Emochin's cultivation, Qin suppressed his anger and began to probe Emochin's background. "What happened to Luo Daoyuan? Isn't it enough to use him to scare me? Didn't you go to the city lord's mansion to call for people? Then I'll wait. 13. Let's see how your senior brother will vent your anger today." Emochin patted Night Sorrow's shoulder and said. Qin looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Night Sorrow, it's enough. Let's settle the matter between us. There's no need to make such a big fuss." Night Sorrow pointed his reincarnation spear at Ao Lai and said, "Originally, it was a matter between the two of us. I'm too lazy to care about you because of your cheap mouth. However, he insulted my parents. As long as I'm alive, this matter won't end." Emochin pointed his finger at Qin and Ao Lai and said, "It's fine. Didn't 13 and the others have cheap mouths? Didn't they think that their backing was strong? Let's meet their backing first and then deal with them." Night Sorrow wasn't someone who would suffer losses. Similarly, Emochin was also such a person. Now that Qin and Ao Lai were bullying them, the two of them naturally couldn't tolerate it. Soon, a large number of guards from the city lord's mansion arrived. The people from Tianji Tower also realized that there was a problem. Some staff members were standing at the entrance. Sikong, who was wearing a purple silk dress, even went down the stairs to Night Sorrow and Emochow's side. "Do you need help?" "You can help? Isn't Tianji Tower not involved in any conflicts?" Emochin looked at Sikong with some surprise. "It's not involved. However, it's not a problem to invite you in for a cup of tea or something," Sikong said with a smile. "Sikong, you still don't understand. They are looking for trouble and insulted my junior brother. It's not over for us. How can we run away?" Emochin said with a shake of his head. "Thank you for your hospitality." Night Sorrow also cupped his hands toward Sikong. "It's nothing. It seems that you two hit it off quite well," Sikong said and returned to the stairs. "You dare to cause trouble here? You must be tired of living. Take them all back." Following a loud roar, a young man wearing armor appeared with the city guards. "Lu Sanhu, if you dare to make a move, I'll take your head." Emochin turned his head and looked at the young man in armor. 11 Martial Uncle?" Seeing Emochin clearly, the young man stuttered. "Scram and stand to the side. Or, go and call for someone who can make the decision." Emochin scolded coldly and continued to look at Qin and Ao Lai. Lu Sanhu shrunk his neck and stood aside. He knew Emochin. He used to be an outer disciple of Danding Peak. Due to his outstanding performance, he was sent to Danding City to be the commander of the city guards. It was a training experience. He knew how fierce and hard to deal with the disciples of Taishin Peak were. Go and call my grandpa, Aolai said to a guard behind him. At unique J original version 0 square root, its square root other VO all 6, is hashtag pirated version J. More and more city guards appeared and surrounded the place. 13. Are you afraid that we will be chopped up today? Emo-chin patted Night Sorrow's shoulder and said with a smile. No. We've caused trouble for senior brother. Night Sorrow saw that the situation had escalated and knew that he had caused trouble for Emo-chin. We are brothers for a lifetime. If we are chopped up, then they will have to chop up our senior first. If they chop us up, then someone will chop them up tomorrow. I dare to guarantee that there won't be anyone left alive in the AO clan. Emo-chin said with killing intent. It's nothing. Killing one is enough. The rest is earned. Night Sorrow said. Emo-chin put one hand on Night Sorrow's shoulder and looked at Aolai with a smile. Soon, another group of people arrived. There were a few old men in front. The leader was an old man in a brocade robe. What's going on? The old man asked after he arrived. Grandpa, they want to kill me. Aolai came to the old man. The old man glanced at Aolai and then came to Night Sorrow and Emo-chin. Emo-chin? What's going on? The old man, Ao Yushan, frowned and asked. Elder Ao, shall we settle today's matter according to Medicine Valley's rules or Danding City's? Emo-chin asked. Aolai, how did you offend your 11th uncle? Ao Yushan glared at Aolai. What? Aolai was dumbfounded. He had expected his grandfather Ao Yushan to show up and deal with Emo-chin and Yushan forcefully, but that didn't happen. Emo-chin, the young ones don't know any better. Just let it go. Ao Yushan said with a smile. Elder Ao, if someone insulted your parents, would you let it go? This is the first time I've heard of someone insulting their parents. Emo-chin sneered. Bastard, why aren't you apologizing? Ao Yushan heard Emo-chin's words and scolded Aolai. Aolai walked to Ao Yushan. Grandpa, I have no conflict with this uncle. It was him who stood up for him and bullied the Ao family. Aolai looked at Night Sorrow and said. Chapter 56. Listen carefully, this is my junior brother, the last disciple of my master. My junior brother was humiliated, and you say I'm standing up for him? Emo-chin turned around and slapped Aolai's face. Bully your Ao clan? How dare you make irresponsible remarks? Now I'm the one bullying your Ao clan. Ao Yushan's eyes twitched, but he didn't make a move. Brat, I said 2 options just now. Now I'll say it again in front of your grandfather. Either kneel down and apologize, or die. Emo-chin held the long sword in his hand. Seeing Emo-chin take out the long sword, Ao Yushan hurriedly protected Aolai by his side. Very well. Elder Ao, your cultivation is higher than mine, your seniority is higher than mine, and you have more men than me. Today I'm going to kill him. Let's see how you're going to stop me. City guards of Danding City, listen carefully. I'm Emo-chin of Taishin Peak. Today I'm going to deal with my master's affairs. If you interfere, don't blame me for being merciless. Emo-chin shook his wrist and unsheathed his long sword. The moment Emo-chin unsheathed his long sword, Night Sorrow made his move. He shook his right hand and performed the reincarnation spear art. He directly stabbed at Aolai's throat from the side of Ao Yushan. The reincarnation spear stabbed forward at an extremely fast speed, making a sharp whistling sound. Emo-chin was stunned. He didn't plan to make a move now. He knew that Ao Yushan wouldn't dare to make a move. However, since Night Sorrow made a move, he had no choice but to make a move. He swung his sword between Ao Yushan and Aolai to stop Ao Yushan. He wasn't stopping Ao Yushan from helping, but he was stopping Ao Yushan from hurting Night Sorrow. Ao Yushan's expression changed. He also unsheathed his long sword and swung it at Emo-chin's long sword. Aolai was still in shock and didn't react. However, one of the guards who came with Ao Yushan reacted and blocked Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear with the saber in his hand. Night Sorrow's spear didn't change and continued to stab forward. At the same time, the true chi in his dantian exploded, performing the 12th layer vibration force. The saber of this bodyguard in the 7th layer of element gathering tier blocked Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Just as he was about to withdraw his saber and change his move, the vibrating force of Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear arrived and struck his saber. Ding! With a crisp sound, the guard lost his grip on his saber and was sent flying by Night Sorrow's spear. Night Sorrow sent the saber in the guard's hand flying with a single strike. With a stomp of his feet, he dashed forward and thrust his reincarnation spear at the guard's throat. In his panic, the guard punched the tip of the reincarnation spear and the body of the spear with his right hand. Retreat! In your dreams! Night Sorrow unleashed the second wave of shock force. 1. The guard's fist smashed onto Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. The reincarnation spear vibrated rapidly and produced a buzzing sound, shaking off the guard's fist and right arm. The tip of the reincarnation spear left a bloody wound on his chest. If he hadn't retreated quickly, his stomach would have been cut open. After forcing the guard to retreat, Night Sorrow twisted his right arm and changed the direction of the reincarnation spear, thrusting towards Aolai. His target was Aolai's throat. It was fine if he didn't attack, but if he did, he had to kill him with a single strike. Aolai pulled out his long sword and slashed towards Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Night Sorrow didn't change his spear. He thrust his right hand forward and raised his left hand at the same time. A light cyan vortex of true chi appeared on his palm. Night Sorrow planned to use Mountain Suppression Hand to kill Aolai after using wind-chasing spear technique. He was worried that something would happen to Emo-chin, so he wanted to end the battle quickly. Aolai's long sword was like a joke in front of Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. It was directly shaken off and flew high into the air. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear continued towards Aolai's throat. At this moment, a guard stepped out and pulled Aolai to one side. He wasn't a city guard of Danding City, but a guard of the Ao clan. As he pulled the guard away, he used his saber to shake off Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Night Sorrow rushed forward. As he withdrew his reincarnation spear, his left hand struck out towards this guard. This guard blocked Night Sorrow's path of attack towards Aolai. This guard didn't have time to use his saber, so he used his left hand to punch Night Sorrow's left hand. He was in the 7th layer of element gathering tier, so he didn't believe that he couldn't stop Night Sorrow. Pang! With a muffled sound, Night Sorrow was pushed back by this guard's punch. However, this guard was in an even worse state. His left hand was badly mutilated, and he knew very well that his finger bones were shattered. Take a look at Zeng 5 Chapter 5K. Night Sorrow, who was pushed back, shook his feet and once again rushed towards Aolai with his spear. Stop. Let's do as you say. Hurry up and tell him to stop. Ao Yushan was anxious. He could see that Night Sorrow had gone crazy and that Aolai couldn't hold on. Night Sorrow, stop first. If they don't give a satisfactory answer, we'll continue to fight. Emo-chin stopped attacking Ao Yushan and blocked Night Sorrow with a flash of his body. Give me a little more time, and I'll be able to kill him. Night Sorrow wiped the corner of his mouth and stared at Aolai. Just now, he was pushed back by the guard's punch, so his internal organs were still shaken to a certain extent. Emo-chin nodded. He knew that his senior brothers and sisters were quite ruthless, but this junior brother was even more ruthless. He was going to kill Aolai. Junior brother, what's the matter? Emo-chin looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Nothing. Night Sorrow shook his head, but his eyes were still fixed on Aolai. At this moment, Aolai was a little scared. He was afraid of Night Sorrow's madness. He felt that Night Sorrow was even more ferocious than a demonic beast. He had hunted demonic beasts before, and right now, Night Sorrow's eyes were scarier than a demonic beast's. Elder Ao, if something happens to my 13th junior brother, you won't be able to bear the consequences. Seeing the blood on Night Sorrow's mouth, Emo-chin was really angry. Aolai, come over and kneel down. Apologize to your 13th uncle. Ao Yushan's face was ashen. He knew that this matter would soon spread throughout Danding City. He had lost face. Fight to the death? They could defeat Emo-chin and Night Sorrow now, but the consequences would be severe. There was no need to wait until tomorrow. The people from Taishin Peak would soon arrive, and the Ao family would no longer exist. Aolai hadn't calmed down yet. Just now, he felt that death was very close to him. When he heard Ao Yushan's words, his knees went soft and he knelt down in front of Night Sorrow. "Uncle, I was wrong." "Junior brother, what do you think?" Emochin looked at Night Sorrow. "Today, I gave face to my senior brother. In the future, if anyone dares to humiliate my family and the people around me, if I don't die, then he will die," Night Sorrow said coldly. His words were filled with killing intent. He was really angry about this matter. "Brat, open your eyes wider in the future. Don't mess around. 13th uncle, let's go." Emochin waved at Night Sorrow. "To tell you the truth, I don't care about your apology. I really want to kill you." The tip of the reincarnation spear pointed at Aolai. Then, he followed Emochin into the beast carriage behind. What a disgrace. Ao Yushan kicked Aolai, causing him to tumble. Then he left with his people. Today, he was really angry. Since he couldn't vent his anger, he could only give his grandson a kick. "The show is over. My blood is boiling." Sikong turned and entered a room on the first floor of Tianji Tower. Then an old man came in. "Sir, are you interested in that Night Sorrow?" The old man looked at Sikong's back and asked. 7th layer of Qi refining. He knocked away the weapon of a self-cultivator in the late stage of elemental gathering more than once. This guy is really heaven-defying. Sikong seemed to be talking to himself. "Is it because of that spear?" the old man asked. Chapter 57. Enforcer Dong, you're wrong about that. Let's not talk about his spear art. Did you notice his palm? That's Yu Yangyu's mountain suppressing hand from Medicine Valley's heaven shaking hand. It's very rare for a Qi refining level 7 to master the mountain suppressing hand. What's more, this little guy is so decisive. Emochin was just bluffing to make his opponent compromise. This little guy really wants to kill Aolai. Sikong shook his head and refuted the old man's analysis. On the last section of Chapter 1, new chapter, I remember that palm. It's just as you said. He was determined to kill his opponent in front of so many enemies. He's very mature. Enforcer Dong nodded and said, "Red mark. Night Sorrow's attention can be raised to a red mark. Notify the higher-ups and the family." Sikong said to the old man. Night Sorrow and Emochin returned to the inn. There was a group of people surrounding Tianyu and the Golden Wing Eagle. "What are you doing? Get rid of them." Emochin yelled at Zhang Dekang. Emochin brought Night Sorrow into his room. "You're a little irrational today." Night Sorrow looked at Emochin and didn't understand why Emochin would say that. "It's not a good time to kill under those circumstances. We should have stopped while we were ahead. We could have waited for the right time to kill him. If something went wrong, how would I explain it to Master?" Emochin slapped Night Sorrow. "Senior brother, didn't you say we should kill him?" Night Sorrow didn't understand. "That was just a bluff." Emochin said helplessly. "Next time, senior brother, give me the signal." Night Sorrow said, "We have to be careful during this period. Ao Yushan didn't dare to fight with us. It's not because he's afraid of us, but because he's afraid of Taishin Peak. However, it's hard to say what kind of tricks he might play in the dark." Emochin said to Night Sorrow, "It's fine if there's a conflict between fellow disciples. Why would he play dirty?" Night Sorrow said in surprise. "You idiot. You have to know that only our 13th senior brother and junior sister are the most genuine, able to rely on each other in life and death. The other peaks are a bit lacking in comparison." Emochin explained the pros and cons to Night Sorrow. He realized that Night Sorrow's heart was as pure as a blank piece of paper. His understanding of the pros and cons of human relationships was lacking. "I understand." After listening to Emochin's explanation, Night Sorrow seemed to understand. "Marang, it's still a bit difficult for you to understand. Let's take it slow. When do you plan to do the quest?" Emochin didn't want to put more pressure on Night Sorrow. He also didn't want to paint a black mark on Night Sorrow's pure heart. "Anytime. Senior brother, just wait for me here. I'll go get the bloodthirsty wolf first, Then I'll go get the black iron grass, Night Sorrow said. 13. Do you think I will let you go alone? If it was yesterday, it might have been possible, but today is definitely not the day. Never let your guard down against your enemies, Emochin said. Okay then. Senior brother, you can follow behind me. Night Sorrow agreed. He knew that it was impossible to not let Emochin follow him. After drinking, Night Sorrow and Emochin set off to hunt the bloodthirsty wolf. Not long after Night Sorrow and Emochin set off, a special person arrived at Tianji Tower. He wasn't here to accept the quest, but to give the quest. You said that you want to start hunting down the Medicine Valley's Taishan Peak disciple Night Sorrow in a month? Si Kong looked at the person behind the black veil and asked. The person who gave the quest came with a bamboo hat, so he didn't want to show his real face. The 13th disciple of the Medicine Valley's Taishan Peak's heaven-shaking hand Yu Yangyu. We can do it. The price is 30 upper-level spiritual stones, Si Kong said. 30 upper-level spiritual stones? Even killing a rank 4 cultivator doesn't cost this much, the man with the bamboo hat said. First of all, I want to tell you that killing a disciple of the Taishan Peak is a big risk. Besides, Night Sorrow didn't do anything bad. 30 upper-level spiritual stones is a small price, Si Kong said casually. Then I'll think about it. The man with the bamboo hat got up and left. The price was too different from the price he had in mind. Is it a quest from the City Lord's mansion? Enforcer Dong said after entering the room. Yes, they don't dare to do it now, so they delayed the quest for a month. Si Kong laughed with disdain. Will he come again? Enforcer Dong thought for a moment and asked. If I'm not here next time, continue to raise the price. Try not to accept this quest. If you accept it, find a reason to cancel it. Try not to provoke the people of the Taishan Peak. Although we are not afraid of them, it will be troublesome if they target us, Si Kong said to Enforcer Dong. Don't worry, I know what to do, Enforcer Dong said. Night Sorrow and Emochin didn't know that they were being targeted. Emochin was very cautious, but he wasn't afraid. After all, if Ao Yushan wanted to deal with Night Sorrow, he would have to kill both him and Night Sorrow. Once the matter was exposed, disaster would be waiting for them. Ao Yushan's cultivation was high, but Emochin was confident that he could escape. Therefore, he concluded that Ao Yushan wouldn't dare to make a move. The two of them rode the golden-winged eagle and Tianyu and used a day to rush to Tsonglang Mountain. The bloodthirsty wolves were here. According to the quest description, there were about 200 bloodthirsty wolves in this pack. The ordinary bloodthirsty wolves were rank 1, the Wolf King's bodyguards were rank 2, and the bloodthirsty Wolf King was rank 2 peak. The quest's requirement was to obtain the bloodthirsty Wolf King's head. In fact, this quest was no different from exterminating the bloodthirsty wolves. Without exterminating the bloodthirsty wolves, it would be very difficult to kill the Wolf King. This was one of the more difficult Iron Order quests. Even rank 2 cultivators wouldn't accept this quest alone. Night Sorrow considered that his body was strong and could fight for a long time. The reincarnation spear was also suitable for group battles. Therefore, he accepted this quest. The quest's reward was also very high, 500 taels of gold and 10 mid-grade spirit stones. For other people, a round trip of 2,000 li would take more than half a month. A 1-month quest was very short, but for Night Sorrow and Emochin, this problem didn't exist. After drinking a jar of wine with Emochin and eating some jerky, Night Sorrow waved his hand at Emochin and headed towards the bloodthirsty Wolf Valley with his reincarnation spear. When they were on their way here, Night Sorrow rode on Tianyu to find the hiding place of the bloodthirsty wolves. Now that they had eaten and drunk their fill, they directly went in to kill. Emochin made the golden-winged eagle and Tianyu wait for him while he followed behind Night Sorrow at a distance of 300 zhang. He didn't dare to let Night Sorrow go. There were more than 200 bloodthirsty wolves. If Night Sorrow was bitten by the wolves, he could only wait to be bitten by his senior sister and senior brother when he returned. When Night Sorrow was still 2 to 3 li away from the bloodthirsty Wolf Valley, a bloodthirsty wolf appeared and attacked. It was a bloodthirsty wolf that was on guard duty. Holding the reincarnation spear, Night Sorrow leapt up and pierced the throat of the bloodthirsty wolf that was pouncing over. Then, with a swing of the reincarnation spear, the bloodthirsty wolf's neck was slit and its corpse was thrown away. Then, a second bloodthirsty wolf appeared. Similarly, before it could get close, its throat was slit by Night Sorrow's spear. Chapter 58. Following Night Sorrow's movements, the corpses of bloodthirsty wolves piled up behind him. Emochin, who was following behind him, was shocked. He originally thought that Night Sorrow would run and fight before fighting again. Night Sorrow didn't feel any pressure in the group battle, so he didn't have any intention of running. Furthermore, Emochin didn't think that Night Sorrow would be in any danger. The reincarnation spear in Night Sorrow's hands was like a flood dragon. Every time he attacked, he would kill a bloodthirsty wolf. In just a few moments, over 30 bloodthirsty wolf corpses had fallen behind Night Sorrow. Looking at Night Sorrow's battle, Emochin shook his head. A battle between newcomers? The Medicine Valley hasn't had such a newcomer yet, right? Emochin was very sure that Night Sorrow's cultivation wasn't higher than level 4 or level 5. It was impossible for him to contend against Night Sorrow. After 15 minutes, 70 to 80 bloodthirsty wolves had been killed by Night Sorrow. However, Night Sorrow felt that he had used up a lot of energy. He kicked a bloodthirsty wolf's corpse and used the rebound force to run up a tree. 13. I thought you were going to kill them all in one go. Emochin shouted from another tree. If they were all level 1 bloodthirsty wolves, then I could kill them all. However, aren't the Wolf King's bodyguards level 2? If I don't maintain my peak condition, then I don't have the confidence. Night Sorrow said to Emochin as he took out a wine jar and drank a mouthful of wine. Right? Don't do things you aren't confident in. There's plenty of time, you can kill them slowly. Emochin also took out a wine jar and drank. He was very satisfied with Night Sorrow's performance. At the very least, Night Sorrow wasn't arrogant and didn't lose his mind after successfully killing a few bloodthirsty wolves. The bloodthirsty Wolf King's bodyguards were much stronger than ordinary bloodthirsty wolves. The most difficult one to deal with was still the level 2 bloodthirsty Wolf King. Normally, this mission was prepared for a level 2 Black Iron Order holder or to level 1 team. Night Sorrow's physical strength did not consume too much. The main thing was that his true chi could not keep up. He wanted to quickly pull out and withdraw his spear, so he added a vibration force to his spear. After fighting for a quarter of an hour, more than half of his true chi had been consumed. After resting for 15 minutes, Night Sorrow jumped down from the tree and slaughtered the bloodthirsty wolves once again. There were fewer and fewer bloodthirsty wolves, but they didn't reduce the intensity of their attacks just because they were killed. As long as there was a gap, another bloodthirsty wolf would pounce. After fighting for a while, Night Sorrow had killed most of the normal bloodthirsty wolves. He arrived at the entrance of the valley and could see the situation inside. There was a bloodthirsty wolf twice the size of a normal bloodthirsty wolf in the valley. That was the bloodthirsty Wolf King. In front of it were 4 smaller Wolf King guards. Following the Wolf King's roar, 2 of the bloodthirsty Wolf King guards rushed towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow took a deep breath and withdrew his reincarnation spear. His eyes were fixed on the Wolf King guards that were running towards him. When the Wolf King guards were about 1 zhang away from him, Night Sorrow's feet shook and his body moved to the side. Following that, he quickly thrust his reincarnation spear towards the neck of the bloodthirsty Wolf King guard that was close to him. Night Sorrow's spear was very fast, but the Wolf King guard was even faster. Its body suddenly dropped, causing Night Sorrow's spear to miss. Night Sorrow, who missed his spear, let out a low roar. All the true chi in his dantian flowed into his right arm. His right arm fiercely smashed downwards, and the reincarnation spear smashed into the bloodthirsty Wolf King guard's lower back. Night Sorrow did not continue to attack. Instead, he raised his spear and quickly retreated. Because the second bloodthirsty Wolf King guard was pouncing towards him, he could only retreat and reorganize his attack. Demonic beast commanders had their own pride. Even if it was a low-level demonic beast commander, this was also the reason why the bloodthirsty Wolf King did not attack the other bloodthirsty wolves and Wolf Kings. The first Wolf King guard was smashed in the back by Night Sorrow's spear. Its ribs were already broken, and the back of its waist was dragging on the ground. Its two front legs supported its upper body and prevented it from falling down. It no longer had any attacking power. At this moment, the second Wolf King guard was a huge threat to Night Sorrow. The spear attack just now had exhausted Night Sorrow's true chi. Currently, he had used up all his true chi and had yet to recover his true chi. This situation made Emochin anxious. He could clearly see that Yishang had used up all of his true chi. Just as he was about to descend from the big tree to rescue Yishang, he saw Yishang's feet shake as his body dodged to the side. The reincarnation spear circled behind him and pierced out again. Night Sorrow's spear thrust was not just for show. This spear thrust emitted an ear-piercing screech that was full of power. This caused Emochin, who had come out to help, to stop. In a situation where Night Sorrow had the ability to protect himself, there was no need for him to make a move. That would not have the effect of training Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's stab contained the energy of the blood-refining realm of the myriad Tao treasured tome. Furthermore, it was unleashed with vibrating energy. This Wolf King guard was not simple either. Its body twisted and its two claws pounced towards Yishiwen. Night Sorrow did not dare to directly stab. This stab could pierce through the bloodthirsty Wolf King guard's throat, but he would also be injured by the Wolf King guard's claws. If that happened, it would be difficult for him to face the remaining two Wolf King guards and the bloodthirsty Wolf King. Night Sorrow took a step diagonally and twisted his waist, driving the reincarnation spear towards the bloodthirsty Wolf King's two front claws. Two crisp sounds rang out. The Wolf King guard's two front claws were broken by Night Sorrow's stab that contained all the energy of the sixth level of the blood-refining realm. However, Night Sorrow was also forced back. The bloodthirsty Wolf King guard's pounce carried a force of 3,000 to 4,000 jin. At this moment, the bloodthirsty Wolf King let out another roar and the remaining two Wolf King guards charged towards Yishiwen. Night Sorrow let out a low roar and charged forward. He stabbed his spear into the head of the Wolf King's bodyguard that had its two front claws broken and was jumping around with its butt in the air. He then pulled out his spear and smashed it into the back of the head of the other Wolf King's bodyguard that had its ribs broken and was trying to climb over to bite him. After doing all this, Night Sorrow didn't care about the lives of the two Wolf King's bodyguards and climbed up the tree by himself. 13. Beautifully done. On the other side, Emochin, who had climbed up a tree, gave Yishang a thumbs up. He truly admired Yishang. Even if he was at the 7th layer of Qi refining, he wouldn't be able to do what Yishang did. I'm going to rest for a bit. Night Sorrow took out a jug of wine and drank a few mouthfuls, completely ignoring the bloodthirsty Wolf King guards that were circling around the tree. What was with that last spear strike of yours? You clearly used up all your Qi. Emochin looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I'm cultivating a body-strengthening technique. That last spear strike was pure physical strength. How does senior brother feel? After Night Sorrow answered, he asked another question. Very strong. Emochin nodded. Latest 08 chapter $D/Supra 7 R. Night Sorrow and Emochin drank and chatted, completely ignoring the two bloodthirsty Wolf King guards that were circling around the tree. Night Sorrow rested for an hour and then jumped down from the tree. He killed one of the bloodthirsty Wolf King guards that was about to climb up the tree. When the other bloodthirsty Wolf King guard pounced over, Night Sorrow used his wind-chasing spear technique and killed the last Wolf King guard with his 6th spear strike. With all the guards dead, the bloodthirsty Wolf King guards also moved out. It jumped and rushed towards Night Sorrow. Chapter 59. I understand now. Night Sorrow jumped behind the big tree and looked at the bloodthirsty Wolf King through the big tree. With the tree between the man and beast, the bloodthirsty Wolf King's charge was in vain. When it was still some distance away from the tree, it slowed down. The bloodthirsty Wolf King, which had slowed down and rushed to Night Sorrow's side, leaped over the ancient tree and opened its mouth to bite at Night Sorrow. However, at this moment, Night Sorrow took small steps and circled to the other side. Following this, Night Sorrow did not attack. He just circled around the ancient tree and the bloodthirsty Wolf King. He ran close to the tree and was more agile than the bloodthirsty Wolf King, so the bloodthirsty Wolf King could not attack him. Being circled by night sorrow around the ancient tree, the bloodthirsty Wolf King became more and more berserk. Its jumping height also became higher and higher, constantly pouncing towards night sorrow. At this moment, Emo Chen's longsword was in his hand. He was very worried that something would happen to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow had been patiently waiting for the bloodthirsty Wolf King. He was waiting for the bloodthirsty Wolf King to become impatient and wait for an opportunity. He did not dare to meet the bloodthirsty Wolf King head-on because it was too strong. Now that the bloodthirsty Wolf King had gone berserk and was jumping high, he knew that his opportunity had come. When the bloodthirsty Wolf King jumped up again, Night Sorrow made his move. All the energy in his body was poured into the reincarnation spear. Following that, the true chi in his dantian exploded and released the 12th layer of vibration energy. The reincarnation spear pierced towards the bloodthirsty Wolf King's chest. When he attacked, Night Sorrow leaned back. He was worried that the bloodthirsty Wolf King's charge would be too strong. Seeing Night Sorrow attack, the bloodthirsty Wolf King lowered its body and grabbed the reincarnation spear with its claws. Its big mouth bit towards Night Sorrow. Die! Night Sorrow released all the vibration energy in the reincarnation spear and continued to stab forward. Buzz! The reincarnation spear vibrated and emitted a low hum as it blocked the bloodthirsty Wolf King's 2 front claws. The reincarnation spear continued forward and pierced the bloodthirsty Wolf King's chest. After stabbing the bloodthirsty Wolf King's chest, Night Sorrow punched the end of the spear with his left hand. Borrowing the force of the rebound, he rolled away from the bloodthirsty Wolf King's body. Night Sorrow's feet shook as he rolled away, and his body fell towards the bloodthirsty Wolf King's back. At this moment, the bloodthirsty Wolf King, which had suffered a fatal blow, had a 2-foot spear shaft sticking out of its abdomen. The tip of the spear was sticking out of its back, making it difficult for it to move. Night Sorrow landed on the bloodthirsty Wolf King's neck. His right hand grabbed the bloodthirsty Wolf King's ears and scalp, while his left hand clenched into a fist. After 6 or 7 consecutive punches, the bloodthirsty Wolf King's body went limp. Aside from the wound in its chest and abdomen, its skull had also been shattered by Night Sorrow. Letting out a sigh of relief, Night Sorrow stood up and pulled out the reincarnation spear. He wiped it on the bloodthirsty Wolf King's fur. "Is this your first battle?" Emo Chen looked at Night Sorrow as if he was looking at a monster. "No, when I was in Bamboo Garden Village, I often went out to hunt. However, at that time, I didn't cultivate. I could deal with rank 1 demonic beasts, but I would run away if I met rank 2 demonic beasts." Night Sorrow was thinking about how to deal with the bloodthirsty Wolf King's corpse. He definitely had to keep its head. Just pretend I didn't ask. If I directly put the bloodthirsty Wolf King's corpse into my storage belt, can yours fit? Emo Chen was rendered speechless by Night Sorrow. Without cultivating, he was able to deal with all demonic beasts within rank 1. What kind of combat talent was this? Emo Chen was a little shocked. "Yes, I can." Night Sorrow turned his arm and patted his storage belt, putting away the bloodthirsty Wolf King's corpse. His storage belt was picked out by Gong Xian, so it had a lot of space. "Your storage belt is the same as mine. It's a top-notch storage belt. When you're strong enough, you can go and do a Heaven Rank Sect mission or a Gold Rank mission in Tianji Tower. Then, you'll be able to get a storage ring." Emo Chen said. "Then we'll have to wait. This is the territory of the bloodthirsty Wolf King. There are no demonic beasts here. Let's go somewhere else and get some tasty game." Night Sorrow asked for Emo Chen's opinion. "Of course, I'll listen to you." Emo Chen nodded. After leaving the bloodthirsty Wolf Valley, the two got on a flying demonic beast and flew for 200 li. They hunted down 2 sparrows and found a campsite. Night Sorrow started a fire and roasted the meat. After eating and drinking to their fill, the two went straight to bed. Night Sorrow witnessed Emo Chen's carefreeness. The golden-winged eagle rested on an ancient tree while Emo Chen lay down on its back. He even had the golden-winged eagle point its wings up to shield him from the wind. Night Sorrow took out the bearskin and laid it on the ground, letting Tianyu rest on it while he meditated on the side. His cultivation had reached the bottleneck of the 7th stage of Qi refining, and he could break through to the 8th stage at any time. Original, Q1 unspecified currency F. After cultivating for an entire night, Night Sorrow and Emochin rode Tianyu and the golden-winged eagle towards the Black Forest Mountain. Night Sorrow had another mission, which was to collect black irongrass. The mission summary said that there were no large demonic beasts in the Black Forest Mountain, only black poison scorpions. They usually hid underground and attacked humans when they encountered them, making them very difficult to defend against. Night Sorrow wasn't afraid of this. He had seen Tianyu eat scorpions before. The scorpions didn't run away when they saw him, which meant that Tianyu was a natural counter to scorpions. Black poison scorpions are low level, but they are large in number. You have to be on guard at all times. This is a poison repellent powder. Once you enter the Black Forest Mountain, sprinkle some on yourself, Emochin said to Night Sorrow. This was the reason why he didn't oppose Night Sorrow when he accepted the mission. He had some poison repellent powder on him that could repel poisonous insects. Senior brother, normal scorpions and poisonous snakes won't dare to move when they see Tianyu. If Tianyu follows me, the black poison scorpions won't attack me, Night Sorrow said. Looks like you've already prepared for this. Tianyu has the bloodline of the ancient Azure Peng, which is a natural counter to poisonous snakes and scorpions. This is indeed a good idea. Looks like this mission won't be too difficult. Emochin nodded. He didn't expect Night Sorrow to already have a plan. When they arrived at the Black Forest Mountain, Night Sorrow finally understood what it meant to be barren. He had never seen a mountain like this before. Bamboo Garden Village was surrounded by deep mountains and ancient forests. Gunnan Town had to cross the great wilderness to reach Red Flame City, and there were thousands or tens of thousands of years old trees. Here, however, it was all pitch black rocks with occasional thorns. There are countless black poison scorpions living under the Black Forest Mountain. The soil is full of poison, which makes it difficult for plants to grow. However, it's suitable for the growth of black irongrass. The golden-winged eagle and I won't go down. We'll patrol in the air for you. Don't let Tianyu go too far away from you, that won't be enough of a deterrent. Emochin said to Night Sorrow. All right, senior martial brother, just wait for me. After saying goodbye to Emochin, Night Sorrow commanded Tianyu to descend. After landing, Tianyu's golden eyes stared at the pitch-black ground. Then he pecked at the ground, and a half-foot-long scorpion was pulled out by Tianyu. The scorpion was motionless as it was swallowed by Tianyu. Tianyu, lead the way. I want to find black irongrass. Seeing that Tianyu was suppressing the black poison scorpions, Night Sorrow felt confident. After half an hour, Night Sorrow had collected nearly 100 stalks of black irongrass. It was enough for him to complete the mission. However, Night Sorrow was also researching alchemy, so he planned to collect more. After all, Tianyu was having a great time eating the black poison scorpions. For hours later, Night Sorrow had collected more than 500 stalks of black irongrass. Chapter 60. Let's rest for a night and hand in the quest tomorrow. You're really fast at completing the quest. If you do it continuously, you'll enter the bronze rank very quickly. Emochin said to Night Sorrow. The two of them found a safe place and set up camp beside a pool. After eating, Night Sorrow began to cultivate. As soon as he started cultivating, Night Sorrow felt that he was on the verge of a breakthrough. After greeting Emochin and letting Tianyu be on guard, Night Sorrow began to break through after eating 1/3 of the spirit congealing pill. Night Sorrow's saturated dantian could no longer absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. He controlled the true chi circulation in his dantian. After entering a relatively stable stage, Night Sorrow introduced the medicinal power of the spirit congealing pill into his dantian and then vibrated his true chi to expand his dantian. With the vibration of the true chi in Night Sorrow's dantian, the space in his dantian became bigger and bigger. When the true chi could no longer vibrate outside, Night Sorrow's dantian also appeared to condense the 8th true chi halo. Controlling the medicinal power of the spirit congealing pill to enter his dantian, Night Sorrow also began to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to condense the 8th true chi halo. Emochin, who was sitting not far away, seemed to be drinking wine leisurely, but he had been vigilantly observing his surroundings and paying attention to Night Sorrow's situation at all times. It took Night Sorrow a day to condense the 8th halo in his dantian. This was slower than ordinary people. The main reason was that Night Sorrow broke through too quickly some time ago. The first 7 halos were not solid. When Night Sorrow condensed the 8th halo, some of the energy was intercepted by the first 7 halos. This breakthrough solved the drawbacks of the previous fast cultivation, but Night Sorrow was also a little scared. This was the problem that broke out early. If it broke out when he was advancing from refining chi to gathering chi, it would be easy for him to fail. It could be seen from the difficulty of this breakthrough. 13. Your advancement this time is a little slow. Is there a problem? Emo-chan asked when he saw Night Sorrow wake up. Yi Shang nodded and explained the problem that had occurred to him. It's a good thing that the problem appeared early. In the future, try to suppress it as much as possible before you advance. It's a taboo for cultivators to be too hasty and have an unstable foundation, Emo-chan reminded Night Sorrow. I'll be careful. Night Sorrow also noticed the severity of the problem. After packing up, the two of them set off. Night Sorrow sat on Tianyu's back, trying his best to stabilize his cultivation. Night Sorrow had originally planned to take the chi amassing pill after advancing, but now he decided to take it slowly. He wanted to stabilize his cultivation and build a solid foundation before taking it. It took Night Sorrow and Emo-chan a day to return to Danding City. The two of them took a shower and had some food before heading to Tianji Tower. This time, Night Sorrow and Emo-chan didn't encounter any mad dogs. They went straight into Tianji Tower. The person who received them was an ordinary-looking woman in black. She brought Night Sorrow and Emo-chan to a private room. After entering the room, Night Sorrow took out the bloodthirsty Wolf King's corpse and the black iron grass. The woman in black looked at the mission description and the time to accept the mission. She looked at Night Sorrow carefully and then shook her head. She went out to register Night Sorrow's points and rewards. Both missions had quite a lot of money and points, but the most valuable reward was still the Spirit Stones. 11th Senior Brother, why did she shake her head? Is she not satisfied with the bloodthirsty Wolf King's corpse or the black iron grass? Night Sorrow said after taking a sip of tea. No, she just doesn't care. She thinks that you're not the one who did this mission. She thinks you're a spoiled brat from a big family. She thinks that the seniors are the ones who did the mission and you should take the reward, Emo-chan said with a smile. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and felt that what Emo-chan said was possible. The woman in black brought over the reward. After putting it away, Night Sorrow asked for the mission list. He then picked 2 missions that had high points and were relatively suitable for him. Only then did he leave with Emo-chan. After sending off Night Sorrow and Emo-chan, the woman in black sent Night Sorrow's information to Enforcer Dong. She had noticed that Night Sorrow was the focus of Tianji Tower's attention when she received the mission reward for Night Sorrow, so she immediately reported the situation to Enforcer Dong. After looking at the time and situation of Night Sorrow's completion of the mission, Enforcer Dong took Night Sorrow's information to the top floor of Tianji Tower. In a private room on the top floor of Tianji Tower, Sikong, who was wearing an elegant blue dress, was drinking tea. My lady, Night Sorrow completed the mission. Enforcer Dong handed Night Sorrow's information to Sikong. Sikong looked at the information and then stood up. Let's go to the warehouse and take a look at the bloodthirsty Wolf King's corpse. In the warehouse of Tianji Tower, Enforcer Dong looked at the bloodthirsty Wolf King's corpse. Sikong also looked carefully. This was killed by Night Sorrow alone. Emo-chan didn't do anything. I saw his marksmanship that day. It's very good, but it's still not enough to kill the bloodthirsty Wolf King. Enforcer Dong shook his head. Look at the wound on the bloodthirsty Wolf King's corpse. When the bloodthirsty Wolf King was about to pounce, he used his gun. Not all of the fur on the bloodthirsty Wolf King's front claws were shaken off. I remember that his marksmanship that day had the power of vibration. The crack on the bloodthirsty Wolf King's head was caused by a punch. It took a few punches to crack its head. If it was Emo-chan, then 1 punch would be enough. It would take him less than 4 days to complete 2 missions. Even with a flying tamed beast, it's still very efficient. Sikong took out a handkerchief to wipe her hands and then left the warehouse. Night Sorrow and Emochin entered a restaurant and sat on the second floor near the street. They ordered a few dishes and took out Uncle Nyo's strong liquor to drink. Who are those people? Or are they city guards opening the way? Night Sorrow asked as he looked at the street below. In Yi Shang's line of sight, two groups of city guards were leading the way. Behind them were two middle-aged men, and behind the middle-aged men were several white-clothed youths. When Night Sorrow was talking, one of the middle-aged men in brocade turned his head to look at Night Sorrow. The young men followed his gaze and saw Night Sorrow. After looking at Night Sorrow for a while, the middle-aged man in brocade turned around and continued forward. People from the Golden Flame sect. Alas. Emochin sighed. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. The Medicine Valley was a subordinate force of the Golden Flame sect. People from the Golden Flame sect naturally had a strong sense of superiority when they came to the Medicine Valley. The situation will change, Night Sorrow said after a while. He could see that Emochin was a bit hesitant. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation, maybe those people are all experts. They were alerted when you looked at them. The young man walking in the front is a core disciple of the Golden Flame sect. Emochin said. Night Sorrow took a sip of liquor and continued to eat. It was not the first time he had heard about the Golden Flame sect. They were overbearing, but Night Sorrow didn't think it had much to do with him. You don't think it has much to do with you? Emochin seemed to know what Night Sorrow was thinking. I'm just a new disciple. What can I do with them? Night Sorrow looked at Emochin confusedly. Chapter 61. Does the Golden Flame sect belong to a lot of forces? Night Sorrow asked. Yes, there are more than a dozen first-class forces, more than 30 second-class forces, and the rest are unrated forces. However, no one can underestimate these unrated forces. Last time, the second and third place were taken by disciples of these unrated forces. Their forces only need to hand over 1/10 of their industry income and resource production for the next 10 years. Emochin explained the situation to Yishang. Then which force got the first place? What's our Medicine Valley's ranking? Night Sorrow asked. The first place belongs to the Golden Flame sect. Our Medicine Valley got the 5th and 7th place, so we need to hand over 30% of our resources. Are you trying to ask why our Medicine Valley's ranking is so low? Emochin looked at Night Sorrow and said, Yes, our Medicine Valley has so many disciples, but we only got the 5th and 7th place? Night Sorrow didn't believe that the Medicine Valley's strength was so much worse than the other forces. There's an age limit. Last time, no one from Taishan Peak participated in the regional competition. The disciples of the other peaks under the age of 30 don't have any advantage over the other forces. Next time, you might have a chance, Emochin said with a smile. Night Sorrow didn't say anything, but he was a little unhappy. As a disciple of the Medicine Valley, he felt a little aggrieved when he saw others showing off in the Medicine Valley's territory. After eating, the two returned to the inn, took a bath, and went to cultivate. In another room of the inn, Qin Zhan, Qin Hai, and a few other disciples of Tianyue Peak were sitting. A middle-aged man was sitting in the main seat. According to what you said, that Night Sorrow from Taishan Peak might have cultivated a rank 2 combat skill. His talent is quite good. This time, I brought you the Cloud-Piercing Sword and Wind-Fire Rod. They are both top rank 2 combat skills. Cultivate well and defeat that Night Sorrow in the newcomer competition. The middle-aged man took out 2 ancient books and put them on the table. Qin Hai and the other disciple each took a book. Both of them were outer sect disciples of Tianyue Peak, but their cultivations had already entered the Yuan Gathering realm. Qin Zhan used his sect contribution points to exchange for a Qi-breaking pill and 3 spirit-increasing pills for Qin Hai. This was also the reason why Qin Hai was able to enter the Essence Gathering realm so quickly. The Essence Increasing Pill was a pill used by the Essence Gathering realm to rapidly increase one's strength. Just like the Qi Gathering Pill of the Qi Refining realm, it could increase one's strength by 1 level. Each of you also have 3 Yuan Increasing Pills. These are given to you by Senior Brother Luo. He hopes that you can boost your morale during the newcomer competition. Didn't the Taishan Peak recruit newcomers? Then let's destroy their prestige during the newcomer competition. The middle-aged man took out another bottle of pills. Thank you, Marshal Uncle. Qin Zhan cupped his hands towards the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man was Qin Fu, the protector of Tianyue Peak's Merit Palace Hall. This time, he was arranged by Luo Daoyuan to deliver resources to Qin Hai and the other outer sect disciple, Kong Jun. It's nothing as long as you work hard. I heard that Night Sorrow is the last disciple of the Taishan Peak's Peak Master. If you defeat him as a third-generation disciple, then the Taishan Peak's face will look good. Alright, work hard on your cultivation. Chen Fu got up and left the room. Now that you have yuan increasing pills to increase your cultivation, you don't have to focus on Zhenqi cultivation for the time being. Go to Tianji Tower and do more missions to stabilize your cultivation. After a period of time, take a yuan increasing pill and then go to stabilize your cultivation. I don't think that Night Sorrow can compare with you. Thinking about Night Sorrow, Qin Zhan's heart was filled with anger. He had been in the Medicine Valley for almost 10 years and was a third-generation disciple. Night Sorrow had just arrived and was already a second-generation disciple. This made him feel extremely unbalanced. If there's a chance, I'll definitely kill him. Qin Hai said coldly. Alright, let's go to Tianji Tower and do missions. Qin Zhan stood up and walked out of the inn. After cultivating for 2 days, Night Sorrow and Emotion set out to continue doing missions and practicing actual combat. Half a month had passed. Night Sorrow had accepted 4 missions. Each time, there were 2 missions and he had completed all of them. While completing the missions, Night Sorrow had also completely stabilized his Zhenqi. When he found that there were no good missions, Night Sorrow told Emochen that he was going to take a qi-gathering pill to cultivate. Emochen carefully looked at Night Sorrow. When he saw that Night Sorrow's foundation was very stable, he nodded. Go, EF. The qi-gathering pill was the best pill to improve one's cultivation in the qi refining stage. Apart from not being able to help one advance, it could provide a steady stream of energy for refining. After taking a fasting pill and adjusting his state, Night Sorrow took a qi-gathering pill and began to cultivate. In another inn, Qin Hai was a bit flustered and exasperated. The Black Iron missions with higher points have all been completed. Now, the remaining missions are either escorting merchants or guarding the house. Originally, there were quite a lot of missions. When we came back from a trip, they were all done. I don't even know which bastard did it. Kong Jun said gloomily. Alright, if there are no suitable missions, then wait for next month. You guys should first stabilize your cultivation. Qin Zhan said. In fact, it was not only Qin Hai and Kong Jun who were gloomy. Many Black Iron token holders in Danding City were also gloomy. Tianji Tower also knew about this situation. Enforcer Dong also had no other choice. The missions were issued once a month, and there were not many missions in the area. Yi Shang had been cultivating all this time. When the effects of the fasting pill wore off, he ate it and continued cultivating. It took Yi Shang 6 days to completely refine the effects of the energy-gathering pill. His cultivation had also reached the peak of the 8th level of qi refinement. How do you feel? Seeing Night Sorrow come out of his room, Principal Emochen asked. The peak of qi refining stage 8. My strength has increased a lot. Night Sorrow clenched his fist and said, well, at the beginning of the month tomorrow, we can continue to do missions. Emochen handed Night Sorrow a cup of tea and said, at the beginning of every month, Tianji Tower would release new missions. As a bronze token holder, Emochen was very clear about this. After resting for a night, Night Sorrow and Emochen arrived at Tianji Tower early. When they entered, they saw Sikong in a simple and elegant dress. Well, follow me. Sikong led Night Sorrow and Emochen into a private room. I want to do a Black Iron mission. Night Sorrow went straight to the point. Sikong's arm shook, and a few pieces of animal skin paper appeared in her hand. She took out a black one and handed it to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow understood that Sikong's status in Tianji Tower was very high. The last few times he came here, the reception staff only had black mission drawings. Black Iron ranked missions are in high demand. You know what happened last month, Sikong reminded Yishan. Thank you. This, and this. Night Sorrow looked at the mission drawings, and his fingers slid on them. The mission did not have a time limit, and the mission points were high. Night Sorrow felt that he could complete it, so he took it all. Chapter 62. Okay, thank you for reminding me. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Seekong. You might not be able to remember so many missions. Let me make a copy for you. Seekong sat down and took out a pen and paper to organize the missions that Night Sorrow had accepted. He also organized them according to the time and distance. Thank you, Night Sorrow said after putting away the mission list that Seekong had copied. Don't mention it. I wish you success. Seekong nodded towards Night Sorrow with a smile. Yi Shang and Emochin took the mission list and left the Celestial Terminus Tower. After Night Sorrow and Emochin left, Seekong handed over half of the mission list that had been accepted by Night Sorrow to Enforcer Dong. What? How come almost half of it went down? The rest of the missions have low points. Enforcer Dong looked at the mission list in surprise. The fat ones were all taken by that kid. If Danding City had 2 such freaks, then no one else would be able to take on the Black Iron missions. Seekong said with a smile. Then should we go to other cities to get more missions with rewards? Enforcer Dong asked. No need. They will only rush to do the missions if there are few of them. Seekong said and then left. After leaving Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow and Emochin drove the beast carriage out of the city gate and rode the Golden-Winged Eagle and Tianyu to do missions. Night Sorrow chose to take the missions that had a time limit. He had also arranged the route, so he could not waste time on running. When Night Sorrow and Emochin went to do missions, the inner court of Tianji Tower was in an uproar. It was not because of anything else, but because the missions with high rewards and points were all taken by other people. This made many Black Iron token holders very angry. Among the angry people were Qin Zhan, Qin Hai, and Kong Jun. They were very annoyed after seeing the mission list. They did not do many missions last month, and this month, the good missions were gone. At this time, some people wanted to ask for an explanation from Tianji Tower. Hearing this, Qin Zhan, Qin Hai, and Kong Jun also joined the ranks and vaguely became the leaders. Seekong, who was originally reading an ancient book on the top floor, went downstairs and came to the lobby. They said that we controlled the missions internally and left the missions to others. Enforcer Dong said to Seekong. Not to mention not leaving the missions, so what if they were left? Why are you making a fuss? If there are missions, you do them. Seekong glanced at the lobby with her beautiful eyes and said coldly. The missions. How? The owner of the Iron Medallion and Bronze Medallion? If you are dissatisfied with the Empyrean Apex Tower or have any other ideas, put down the token and scram. Hearing Qin Zhan's questioning, Seekong directly replied coldly. You are too overbearing. We want to see your manager? Qin Zhan could not hold his face after hearing Seekong's words. Enforcer Dong, if they talk nonsense again, send people out. Seekong finished and left without looking at Qin Zhan. You are the enforcer here, right? Can you give us an explanation about the mission? If you can't, then call the manager out. Qin Zhan said to Enforcer Dong. I am the manager of Tianji Tower's Danding City. There is no explanation. Guards, if you make any more noise, your status in Tianji Tower will be revoked. Enforcer Dong did not look at Qin Zhan and directly called for the guards. Qin Zhan's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. Tianji Tower did not treat him as a dish. Square root Newark fastest 1G on M3, Big Brother, let's go. Qin Hai pulled Qin Zhan away. At this time, Qin Zhan really did not have a way out. After Qin Hai pulled Qin Zhan out of Tianji Tower, he took a trivial mission with Kong Jun. Night Sorrow went to Tianji Tower during the day to do missions. At night, he worked hard to cultivate the Sage Cauldron Scripture and Myriad Dao Tome. His cultivation improved very quickly and steadily. After eating the Qi Gathering Pill, Night Sorrow had reached the peak of Qi Refining Stage 8. He could break through, but Night Sorrow wanted to settle down. Using 9 days, Yi Shang finished all the missions that he was rushing for. He also planned to make a breakthrough. After 9 days of fighting with the demonic beasts and bandits, Yi Shang felt that his foundation was not unstable. After returning to Danding City, Night Sorrow and Emo-chan sat in the beast carriage, chatting and drinking as they rushed to Tianji Tower. 13 mission points can be used to upgrade your level. You can also exchange for some resources. Do you have anything you want to exchange? Emo-chan said to Night Sorrow. Let's not exchange for now. I don't know when I will be able to upgrade to the Qingtong token. Once I reach the Qingtong token level, I can take on high-level missions. Night Sorrow said, shaking his head. I didn't make it clear to you. Points can be used. This will not affect your upgrade to the Black Iron token. The upgrade to the Black Iron token depends on the total points you have. The points used and the remaining points are calculated separately. Emo-chan said to Night Sorrow. Senior brother, I have some medicinal pills. I don't want to exchange them for now. Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Some medicinal pills are necessary. For example, the Qi-breaking pill. It will make it easier for you to enter the Qi-gathering stage. Emo-chan did not expect Night Sorrow to be so insistent. I have one Qi-breaking pill. Night Sorrow said. You do? Then you don't need it. When you enter the Qi-gathering stage, the sect will give you medicinal pills that can help with cultivation. However, there is one type of pill that the sect will not give you. You have to exchange for it with the sect's merit points. That is the Qi increasing pill. It has the same effect as the Qi gathering pill used in the Qi refining stage. It can increase your cultivation by 1 level. Emo-chan said to Night Sorrow. Qi increasing pill? Then if I have a lot of money and get more Qi increasing pills, my cultivation will increase quickly. Night Sorrow said with some surprise. You're thinking too much. This type of medicinal pill has a limit for each stage. The Qi refining stage can only take 3 Qi gathering pills. The same goes for the Qi gathering stage. The Qi gathering stage can only take 3 Qi gathering pills. Emo-chan explained to Night Sorrow. He knew that in many aspects, Night Sorrow was a layman. When Yi Shang asked this question, Qin Hai was also at a loss. Qin Zhan had spent a lot of the sect's merit points to exchange for 3 essence increasing pills. In the end, Luo Daoyuan had given him another 3. He could only look at the remaining 3. The heavens reward the diligent. Medicinal pills were indispensable on the path of cultivation. However, one could not rely on medicinal pills endlessly. The true Qi that one could slowly cultivate would be relatively smooth. If one relied on medicinal pills to cultivate, the Ling Qi would be somewhat lacking. In the Qi gathering stage, taking 3 Qi increasing pills was still within control. However, if one took more, the true Qi in their dantian would become stagnant. Then when I have enough merit points, I'll go exchange for them. I should go get another Qi gathering pill. Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. He had just used 1 Qi gathering pill and was about to leave the Qi refining stage. He felt that he should not waste this opportunity. He should directly get another Qi gathering pill to reach the peak of the Qi refining stage. After stabilizing his cultivation, Night Sorrow walked out of the room. You succeeded. Congratulations, number 13, Emo-chan said with a smile. Night Sorrow looked at Emo-chan and said, It's just a promotion. Thank you for guarding me. Let's go do the mission after we eat? That's fine. You also want to see how much your strength has increased after the promotion. Finish the mission, then come back and slowly settle down. Emo-chan nodded. He knew that Night Sorrow still had a lot of Tianji Tower missions on hand. After eating, Emo-chan thought for a while and decided to let Night Sorrow take a bath and have a good sleep. They would go out to do the mission tomorrow. He realized that Night Sorrow was like a taut rope that needed to be relaxed. Night Sorrow did not have any objections to Emo-chan's decision. He knew that Emo-chan's arrangement was for his own good. Night Sorrow and Emo-chan chatted for a long time on the night when they did not cultivate. Emo-chan even asked the waiter to add a bed in the room. Night Sorrow slept very well that night. In the middle of the night, Emo-chan woke up and covered Night Sorrow with a blanket. Looking at Night Sorrow who was still frowning in his sleep, Imo-chan shook his head. This was just a child. After a good night's rest, Night Sorrow woke up early. While Night Sorrow was practicing martial arts and washing up, Imo-chan asked the waiter to prepare the food. How is it? Do you feel refreshed once in a while? Imo-chan said with a smile as he looked at Night Sorrow, who had just finished washing up. That's right, but this will develop laziness, Yishan said. That's right. Didn't I tell you to relax once in a while? Imo-chan said as he slapped Night Sorrow. After breakfast, the two set off in the beast carriage. Imo-chan, who was sitting in the beast carriage, opened the window and sang a folk song outside, causing a burst of screams from the girls who were shopping. Senior, I didn't know. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He realized that Imo-chan had changed a lot during this time. He was completely different from when he was in front of Guan Ye's tomb. That's right. When I was at home, there were many rich girls who liked me. Imo-chan said with a smile. Night Sorrow knew that Imo-chan was not lying. Imo-chan was handsome, especially with his eyes that seemed to be filled with vicissitudes and stories. He was a fatal attraction to women. Senior, do you have anyone in mind? Night Sorrow asked. He knew that among his seniors, only Wu Qi and Shi Tianlin were married. You have to help me keep this a secret. Imo-chan said. Seeing Night Sorrow nod, Imo-cho said that he had a girl in mind. She was the cousin of Danding Peak's eldest disciple, Chu Ling Xiao. When Guan Yi was still alive, the two of them would often go sightseeing. If not for the conflict between Chu Ling Xiao and Aoi, the two of them would have been discussing marriage. Chapter 64. So it was a misunderstanding, but this misunderstanding had serious consequences. After hearing Imo-chan's explanation, Night Sorrow knew that this matter was indeed troublesome. Neither side was in the wrong, but there was an irreconcilable grudge. Yes, this is an irreconcilable grudge. That's why I don't dare to make senior sister angry, Imo-chan said. I'll help you find out when I have time, Night Sorrow said with a smile. No, I don't even know what's going on with Chu Lingfei. Maybe she's married. Imo-chan sighed. In order to avenge Guan Yi, Imo-chan had been ignoring the outside world for more than 10 years. Night Sorrow couldn't do anything about this. No one knew what would happen after more than 10 years of indifference. After leaving the city, the two of them got on their flying mounts. Their mission this time was to go to a bandit lair and rescue a young lady from a big family. If something happened to the young lady, then they would have to eliminate this group of bandits. According to the mission description, this person was a troublemaker from the mountains. His cultivation base was not high, but he was very familiar with the terrain. The mission's priority was to find this group of bandits. The last place the bandits appeared was near the Black Cloud Swamp. Night Sorrow felt that with Tianyu's help, it wouldn't be hard to find the bandits' hiding place. He also felt that the young lady had no chance. She wouldn't be killed, but it was hard to say whether she would be the wife of the bandit leader or not. Night Sorrow was in charge of the mission. Imo-chan's job was to protect Night Sorrow's safety. Before accepting the Bloodthirsty Wolf King's mission, Imo-chan had been very careful. He didn't dare to let go of Night Sorrow. Many Black Iron missions were done by cultivators of the Qi Gathering Realm. Cultivators of the Qi Refining Realm with the Black Iron token would only do small missions at first. As their cultivation increased, the difficulty of the missions would slowly increase. After Yi Shang successfully killed the Bloodthirsty Wolf King, Imo-chan didn't think so anymore. He felt that even a cultivator in the early stage of Element Gathering tier was no match for Yi Shang in terms of battle prowess. Most importantly, Yi Shang's talent for battle was extremely strong. He knew how to choose the most effective battle strategy based on the terrain and the complexity of the situation. After arriving at the Black Cloud Swamp, Night Sorrow let Tianyu fly at a low altitude around the Black Cloud Swamp to look for clues. The Black Cloud Swamp had a circumference of 300 to 400 miles. Night Sorrow controlled Tianyu to fly at a low altitude. 1 hour later, Night Sorrow let Tianyu land because Night Sorrow saw footprints on the black sand beside the water. It shouldn't be too far from here, Night Sorrow said after squatting down to check the footprints. How can you tell? Perhaps it was left behind in the past, Emochin said. Impossible. Although there are no waves here, the humidity is very high. The dew at night is like a drizzle. The footprints can't have been here for more than 3 days, Night Sorrow said with certainty. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Emochin was stunned. He was also an experienced tracker, but he couldn't tell what these footprints were. Looking at the footprints, Night Sorrow led the way in front while Emochin followed behind with Tianyu and the golden-winged eagle. Night Sorrow walked and stopped frequently, even when he entered the forest. Although he would stop sometimes to analyze, his speed was definitely not slow. Emochin was experienced in tracking in the forest. He knew that Night Sorrow was heading in the right direction. When humans walked through the forest, even if they didn't leave footprints, they would leave traces, such as fallen leaves. Even if they didn't leave footprints, there would still be changes. Night Sorrow walked forward in a zigzag manner while Emochin followed behind with the 2 flying tamed beasts. For hours later, Yishang saw signs of a fire being lit. Senior brother, from the looks of it, the fire was set yesterday. There were many of them, so they couldn't have moved too quickly. I estimate that they are only a few 100 kilometers away from us. Yishan took out a wine jug and took a sip of wine. Yes, that's right. The bones are still very fresh. Emochin nodded as he looked at the bones beside the fire. If something happens to the girl, it will be troublesome. We have to kill all of them. Night Sorrow didn't reject killing, but killing all of them still made him feel a little conflicted. The bandits were a group, so there must be children. Even if they didn't kill the children, without the adults to take care of them, the children would still die. It depends on the situation. If something happens to the girl, we will kill all 3 of their leaders and take their heads. The mission will be considered complete, Emochin said after thinking for a while. The mission introduction only mentioned the characteristics of the 3 leaders. If they couldn't save the girl, then they would take the heads of the bandits. Senior brother, if the girl is defiled by the bandits and we save her, should we also kill the bandits? Night Sorrow asked after thinking for a while. It depends on the situation. But if you do something wrong, you have to bear the consequences. The leaders of this bandit group must not be left alive, Emochin said. The 2 drank some wine and ate some dried meat before continuing on. Night Sorrow still had a lot of missions on hand, so they couldn't waste too much time. They still hadn't caught up with the bandits even when it was nighttime. The bandits lived in the mountains all year round, so their survival skills were very strong and their speed was also very fast. Looking at the sky, Night Sorrow was a little hesitant. It was very dangerous deep in the mountains at night. If they rashly followed the bandits, they could easily be attacked. Normally, we shouldn't chase them. But at this time, they should be setting up camp. Ride on Tianyu and search for 200 to 300 miles in the sky. If we can't find them, we will chase them tomorrow, Emochin suggested. Okay. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that Emochin's idea was feasible. Tianyu, remember this place. If we can't find the target, we will come back, Night Sorrow said to Tianyu and got on Tianyu's back. Emochin rode on the golden-winged eagle and followed Night Sorrow and Tianyu. After ascending into the sky, Night Sorrow looked at the terrain and chose a relatively flat direction to start chasing. After an hour, Night Sorrow discovered a situation. There was smoke rising from a canyon. This was the sign of a fire. Controlling Tianyu to land, Night Sorrow carried the reincarnation spear and crept over. Traps, beast traps, hanging spear boards. Night Sorrow saw a lot of hunters' methods. This made him understand that the bandits he was looking for were most likely in the canyon. If they were cultivators who had a very strong cultivation, they wouldn't do these things. I knew why newer, previous. If seeing Night Sorrow avoid one trap after another, Emochin understood that although Night Sorrow was young, he was definitely an experienced hunter. After creeping into the canyon, Night Sorrow carefully probed ahead. He wasn't sure if this group of people were bandits, but they were definitely hunters. If he wasn't careful, he would be discovered. Carefully creeping to one side of the canyon, Night Sorrow climbed up the canyon's mountain wall and looked towards the center. Emochin followed behind and stayed below the canyon's mountain wall, watching Night Sorrow's actions. With one look, Night Sorrow discovered that these people were the bandits he was looking for. According to the information provided by the big family, there were 3 bandit leaders. One had a scar on his face, one had a neck that was scratched by a demonic beast, and the last one was bald. Night Sorrow saw all 3 of them. At this moment, the bald man was sitting on a tree stump and eating barbecued meat. Beside his feet was a woman whose hands and feet were tied. She was sitting diagonally on the ground. You're the one who's looking for death by meddling in other people's business. Bald Big Brother pulled out the machete from his waist and slashed towards the side of Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. At this moment, Second Brother, who had a scar on his neck, also made his move. He also used a long spear and thrust it towards Night Sorrow's waist. Crack! Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear burst forth with vibrating energy and directly shook off the Baldy's machete. Then, he quickly extended his arm and pierced through the Baldy's throat. After piercing through the Baldy's throat, Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear reverberated and hit Second Brother's long spear, who had a terrifying scar on his neck. After shaking Second Brother's long spear away, the reincarnation spear quickly extended towards Second Brother's throat. Realizing that Bald Big Brother was dead, Second Brother retreated. He didn't want to fight anymore. Knowing that he wasn't Night Sorrow's opponent, how could he still dare to fight? He immediately retreated. Night Sorrow extended his right hand and slapped the reincarnation spear's tail with his left hand. The reincarnation spear shot out and chased after Second Brother. The reincarnation spear that was shot out by Night Sorrow's left hand was as fast as lightning. It instantly caught up with Second Brother and pierced through his chest. Night Sorrow's feet shook as he caught up with the reincarnation spear. With a shake of his right hand, he shattered Second Brother's internal organs. Grabbing the reincarnation spear, Night Sorrow pulled out his right hand and swung the spear towards Third Brother, who had a scar on his face. "Don't kill him!" The girl not far behind Night Sorrow shouted. Yishang stopped. At the moment, he was only a few feet away from the Third Brother with the scar. The Third Brother with the scar was still retreating. He still has a conscience. If he didn't stop me, I don't know what kind of situation I would be in right now. The girl said. Night Sorrow held the long spear in his hand and looked at Third Brother. "Please show mercy." Third Brother knelt on the ground with one knee. "If you're afraid of death now, you shouldn't have been a bandit in the first place." Night Sorrow said coldly. "I'm not afraid of death. I'm afraid that if I die, no one will take care of them." Third Brother turned his head and looked at the bandits in tattered clothes behind him. There were women and children among the bandits. 13, forget it. They are actually refugees. It's just that their leader is scum. Emochin walked out and chopped off the heads of 2 bandit leaders with 2 slashes. There are many paths to choose from in this world. The most important thing is to constantly strive for self-improvement. Night Sorrow looked at Third Brother and said, "Brother, please don't kill my third uncle." A little girl came to Night Sorrow's side and knelt down. "Okay, I won't kill him." Night Sorrow nodded his head and put the reincarnation spear back on his back. He also put away the 2 heads. He's strong and can do anything he wants. He was also a hunter some time ago. Look at him now, choosing the right path is very important. Emochin shook his head helplessly and pointed at Night Sorrow. "I can support myself, but they can't." Third Brother said helplessly. "My family is in the cloth business. We need people. If you're willing, you can come work for us." The woman looked at the man and woman in tattered clothes behind Third Brother and said, "Thank you, sister." The kneeling little girl started to kowtow to the woman. "I'm willing to be a slave if I can take care of these people in the village." Third Brother said to the woman, "No, you're different from those 2. I think you should be the same kind of person as them. In order to thank you for what you've done for me these past few days, I'll help you take care of these people. You can pursue your own sky." The woman glanced at Emochin and Yishang before speaking to the scarred youth. After leaving the address for Third Brother, the woman walked to Night Sorrow's side. "Thank you for saving us. If there's nothing else, let's go." 13. Your Tianyu isn't suitable for carrying heavy loads for a long time. Let her sit with me on the golden-winged eagle. Emotion said. Night Sorrow nodded and walked to Tianyu's side. Wait, can I know your name? Third brother called out to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow of Medicine Valley, Taishin Peak. If you want revenge, come find me at any time. Night Sorrow's body flashed and landed on Tianyu's back. Emo Chen and Night Sorrow found a safe place with the woman and set up camp. After setting up camp, Night Sorrow began to meditate. Master, was that young master really a hunter in the past? The woman beside Emo Chen looked at Night Sorrow, who was meditating, and asked. Yes, he became my junior 2 months ago. If he didn't come for the mission, you might have been in trouble. Emo Chen smiled. Chapter 66. You mean that Yu Luo is quite strong? Emo Chen asked curiously. Yes, Yu Luo is the strongest in the group just now. These days, he's been the one fighting the demonic beasts. Normally, he's not very strong, but he can transform. After transforming, he can tear apart tigers and leopards. The woman said. A special bloodline. I didn't expect it to be a special bloodline. People with special bloodlines are usually arrogant. No wonder he didn't want to be in the same boat as Baldy. However, even if he has a special bloodline, it's still impossible for him to defeat 13. Emo Chen smiled. He knew Night Sorrow's strength. As long as it was within rank 2, Night Sorrow could fight it. After cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow woke up in the morning. He took Tianyu out to catch 2 prey and gave one to the golden-winged eagle. Night Sorrow started a fire and roasted one for Tianyu. What's the next mission? Emo Chen looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Ironback Bear's gallbladder. Night Sorrow cut off the roasted boar's hind leg and gave the rest to Tianyu. Ironback Bear is a rank 2 demonic beast. However, it's slow, so it shouldn't be too difficult. Emo Chen took a knife and gave some of the boar's leg to the woman. Night Sorrow nodded. He had some understanding of bear-type demonic beasts. Bear-type demonic beasts were known for their immense strength and violent temper. They weren't as intelligent as other demonic beasts and were at a disadvantage in terms of speed. After eating, Night Sorrow got on Tianyu's back and flew towards the ice snow mountain where the Ironback Bear roamed. The ice snow mountain was tens of thousands of meters high. Half of the mountain was covered with snow all year round. Bears were afraid of heat and cold, so there were more bears in the ice snow mountain. After half a day, Yishang and Emo Chen arrived at the ice snow mountain with the girl. Night Sorrow didn't control Tianyu to fly too high. The Ironback Bear was suitable for heights of 5,000 to 6,000 meters. Any higher and it would be the snow bear's habitat. After searching for half an hour, Night Sorrow found a lone Ironback Bear. Senior brother, this is the lone one. I will kill him, and we will return to Danding City. Night Sorrow said and prepared to go down. It's not alone, it's the Bear King. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Emo Chen quickly reminded Night Sorrow who was about to go down. Bear King? Senior brother, what's its cultivation base? Night Sorrow asked. Peak 2. He's entered the fake core stage, Emo Chen said to Night Sorrow. The cultivation of a false core realm was in between the 2nd and 3rd order. Their strength exceeded the 2nd order but had yet to reach the 3rd order. 3rd order martial artists or demonic beasts would form an inner core. A false core was a transformation of the energy in the Dantian, but it had yet to truly form an inner core. I'll give it a try. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and felt that if it was any other demonic beast, he would have no chance of success. However, this Ironback Bear was slow, so he might have a chance. Seeing Night Sorrow's back fall from Tianyu's back, Emo Chen felt that there was no point in following him. Night Sorrow could face some things on his own. He was completely different from those new disciples. He was not a flower in a greenhouse, he had the ability to survive. Landing on Tianyu's back, Night Sorrow approached the Ironback Bear King. When Night Sorrow was about 200 feet away from the Ironback Bear King, the Ironback Bear King discovered Night Sorrow. It roared and rushed towards Night Sorrow. Seeing the Ironback Bear King rushing towards him, Night Sorrow scanned his surroundings and decided to fight it here. When the Ironback Bear King was about 40 feet away from Night Sorrow, Night Sorrow's feet shook and his body flashed to the back of a cedar. The Ironback Bear King, which weighed 2,000 to 3,000 jin, could not stop and rushed past the side of the cedar. The cedar that Night Sorrow was hiding in was so thick that it would take 6 or 7 people to wrap their arms around it. Even if the Ironback Bear King was ferocious, it could not directly crash into it. After charging for about 50 to 60 feet, the Ironback Bear King finally stopped and turned around to rush towards Night Sorrow again. Seeing the Ironback Bear King rushing towards him, Night Sorrow did not dodge to the side. Instead, he stomped his feet and jumped up. The instant Night Sorrow jumped up, the Ironback Bear King pounced on the spot where he was standing a moment ago. Its huge body crashed into the cedar, creating a rumbling sound. Night Sorrow's body landed and his right foot ferociously kicked the back of the Ironback Bear King's head. His body landed behind the Ironback Bear King and his reincarnation spear fiercely stabbed into the Ironback Bear King's waist. The reincarnation spear pierced 2 feet into the Ironback Bear King's body, but the intense pain caused the Ironback Bear King to wake up from its dizzy state. It turned around and was about to attack Night Sorrow, who was behind it. Night Sorrow, who had turned around with the Ironback Bear King, let out a low roar. The energy of the 6th layer of the blood-refining realm poured into his arms. His arms pushed the reincarnation spear forward and continued to stab into the Ironback Bear King's body. After cultivating the myriad Dao Tome, Night Sorrow's arms had the strength of 2,500 kilograms even if he didn't use any cultivation techniques. Now that all the energy of the blood-refining realm was released, his strength had at least doubled. The Ironback Bear King's body was pierced by Night Sorrow's spear. Night Sorrow's hands were holding onto the Ironback Bear King's waist. Feeling that the Ironback Bear King was about to turn around, Night Sorrow's shoulder pushed against the Ironback Bear King's butt. His legs exerted force as he pushed the Ironback Bear King forward. After being pierced by Night Sorrow's spear, the Ironback Bear King was already heavily injured. It was pushed forward by Night Sorrow. F***CK. 1 step, 2 steps, Night Sorrow and the Ironback Bear began to compete. The Ironback Bear King's strength was great, but it wasn't convenient for it to push backward. Its strength was reduced by 30%, and it was constantly pushed forward by Night Sorrow. After a dozen steps, Night Sorrow pushed the Ironback Bear King to another cedar tree. The Ironback Bear King, whose body had been pierced, used its 2 front paws to push against the cedar tree, resisting Night Sorrow's push. Unable to push the Ironback Bear King away, Night Sorrow let out a low roar. His arms began to shake the reincarnation spear's shaft. He then pulled it back and stabbed it again, continuously expanding the Ironback Bear King's injuries. I wonder which one of them is the bear. The scene of Night Sorrow and the Ironback Bear fighting to the death shocked Emochin. It also stunned Huang Yu, who had just been rescued. Night Sorrow's shoulder pressed against the Ironback Bear King's buttocks. He grabbed the reincarnation spear's shaft and shook it continuously. He pulled it out a little and then stabbed it back in. A quarter of an hour later, the Ironback Bear King stopped moving. It had been bled to death by Night Sorrow while it was still alive. Then, Night Sorrow cut open the Ironback Bear's stomach, skinned it, and took out its gallbladder. He then chopped off the Ironback Bear's limbs and put them into his storage belt. Only then did he return to Tianyu's back. "You are too cruel. I won't come with you next time," Emochin said. After seeing Night Sorrow kill the Ironback Bear, Emochin had a new idea. He wouldn't come with Night Sorrow in the future and would secretly protect him. "Alright, let's find a place to rest for the night. We will return to Danding City tomorrow," Night Sorrow said. He didn't want to trouble Emochin. After resting for the night, Night Sorrow and Emochin brought Huang Yu back to Danding City. Emochin took the beast carriage back to the inn directly. Night Sorrow brought Huang Yu to submit the mission. After all, submitting the mission required the mission item. It wasn't something that could be completed easily. Huang Yu was the key to this mission. Huang Yu's family received the notification and took Huang Yu back. They also gave Night Sorrow 1,000 taels of gold as a reward. "Is the mission on hand done?" Si Kong looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Chapter 67. There are 2 more, but they aren't that difficult. I'll finish them in 2 or 3 days. Night Sorrow said to Sikong. He had a good impression of Sikong. Not only was she beautiful, but she also didn't put on airs. In addition, when he had a conflict with Ao Lai at the entrance of Tianji Tower, Sikong had shown him kindness. Once you're done, go and rest. There won't be any good missions for the next half a month if there aren't any special circumstances. Sikong said with a smile. Looking at the smiling Sikong, Yishang was a little distracted. The main reason was that Sikong was too beautiful, so beautiful that Yishang was a little dazed. What are you thinking about? Sikong looked at the distracted Night Sorrow and waved her hand in front of Night Sorrow's eyes. Nothing. I'm just curious why your family gave you such a name. Girls rarely have such names. Night Sorrow changed the topic. You know my name? That shouldn't be. Sikong looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. Didn't you say that your name is Sikong? Night Sorrow was also puzzled. Sikong had said her name when she introduced herself. How could she forget? Hee, Sikong is my surname, not my name. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Sikong understood that Night Sorrow treated her surname as her name. I see. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. He also felt that a beauty like Sikong shouldn't have an ordinary name. My name is Sikong Chuyu. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. What a beautiful name. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Your name is not bad. Sikong Chuyu poured himself a cup of tea and said, Is my name good? I'm an orphan. My family died, so my name is Night Sorrow. Thank you for the tea, Lord Sikong. I'll take my leave now. Night Sorrow took a deep breath and then stood up. Looking at Night Sorrow's back, Sikong Chuyu called Enforcer Dong. Send someone to investigate Night Sorrow's background. Remember, don't be hostile. After returning to the inn, Night Sorrow took out 2 bare legs, one for Zhang Dekhang and the other for his and Emo Chen's dinner. Did you turn in the quest smoothly? Emo Chen asked as he approached Night Sorrow. It's just that handing in Huang Yu's quest is a bit troublesome. His family is asking all sorts of questions, Night Sorrow said. It's inevitable. If a woman falls into a bandit's lair, even if she's rescued, she'll still be in trouble. You've been running back and forth these past few days, and you've also experienced a few battles. You should rest for a few days and improve your cultivation, Emo Chen said. Genuine F first release W? Alright, senior brother, I know there are people with the surname C. Is there anyone with the surname Sikong? Night Sorrow asked. You're talking about the woman in Tianji Tower whose cultivation even I can't see through? Emo Chen asked. He had a deep impression of Sikong Chuyu. Not only was she a natural beauty, she had the aura of a superior, and her cultivation was also ridiculously high. Yes, that's her surname, not her name, Night Sorrow said. How do you know? Emo Chen asked curiously. Her name is Sikong Chuyu. Night Sorrow said Sikong's name. Good name. I've never heard of the surname Sikong. It's very strange that she would take the initiative to tell you her name. If you weren't so young, I would have thought she was interested in you. 13, hurry up and grow up. Emo Chen said with a smile. Night Sorrow shook his head and went back to cultivate. He wanted to reach the Yuan gathering realm as soon as possible. Also, he wasn't far from the 7th layer of the blood refining realm with the myriad Dao Tome. After cultivating for 2 days, Night Sorrow went to do missions. This time, Emo Chen told Night Sorrow that he wouldn't follow, but in reality, he had been following Night Sorrow from a distance. After 3.5 days, Night Sorrow finished the last 2 missions and returned to Danding City. After handing in the missions, Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu chatted. Sikong, how do you exchange for the Yuan increasing pill in Tianji Tower? You want to exchange for the Yuan increasing pill? Yes, the price isn't high, but I have a suggestion. Would you like to hear it? Sikong looked at Night Sorrow and poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow. Of course I'll listen to Sikong's suggestion. Night Sorrow nodded at Sikong Chuyu. You already have more than half of the points for the Black Iron token. You've reached 2/3. If you have the Qing Tong token, then the points you need to exchange for the Yuan increasing pill will be reduced by 1/4. You're currently at the 9th level of the Qi refining realm. Before you reach the initial yuan gathering realm, you won't need the yuan increasing pill. During this time, you can raise the mission sign. Sikong Chuyu gave his suggestion. Sikong's suggestion is very good. I'll exchange for 3 yuan increasing pills. This will save me a lot of points. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, 3 is a bit too much. In theory, it's not a problem to eat 3, but it's not a good thing to increase your cultivation too quickly. Just exchange for 1 or 2. Don't reach the limit. Sikong Chuyu shook his head when he heard that Night Sorrow wanted to exchange for 3. Okay, I understand. Thank you, Sikong. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Sikong Chuyu. Just call me Sikong. Don't be too polite. Remember to come early at the beginning of the month and complete more missions. It'll be much easier for you to get the bronze token. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. He knew that Night Sorrow had already completed all the missions he had accepted. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Sikong Chuyu again and left. This little guy is a talent. Enforcer Dong walked to Sikong Chuyu's side. Of course. If there are no accidents, the name Night Sorrow will resound throughout the Eastern Shin domain in a few years. Sikong Chuyu said. The results are out. Take a look, Sikong. Enforcer Dong handed a treatment book to Sikong Chuyu. Bone age, 14. Orphan. He was raised by the village chief of Jiuan village near South Sky City. A few months ago, he was a hunter with no cultivation. He should be the most outstanding hunter in Jiuan village. Enforcer Dong gave the information to Sikong Chuyu and introduced the contents of the information. From no cultivation to the 9th level of qi refining in 4 months. Even with abundant resources, this speed is outrageous. His blood and qi are vigorous, and his body is very strong. Even if he doesn't use true qi, he can still kill opponents of the same level. The most important point is his fighting talent. From his battle at the gate that day and the corpses of the bloodthirsty Wolf King and the Ironback Bear King, it seems that he was born for fighting. Sikong Chuyu said, Medicine Valley has found a treasure. By the way, when will you go back, Sikong? Enforcer Dong asked. Go back? Why should I go back? Listen to the family's arrangements and do what I don't like? A layer of frost appeared on Sikong Chuyu's face. But Sikong, you can't hide for long like this. Enforcer Dong said. It doesn't matter. This is the family's current thinking. My father and mother know that I came out. They didn't stop me. I will prove my value. As long as I break through, the family won't say anything. Sikong Chuyu said. Chapter 68. After returning to the inn, Night Sorrow began to cultivate. He planned to cultivate the Myriad Dao Tome to the 7th layer first. Night Sorrow's true energy had just advanced, so it would take some time for him to break through to the Yuan gathering stage. However, his Myriad Dao Tome had reached the 6th layer for a long time and had already reached the peak of the 6th layer. Night Sorrow felt that a breakthrough would happen soon. Without any missions to do, Night Sorrow ate the Spirit Congealing Pill and Blood Essence Pill to cultivate at night. During the day, he cultivated the Chasing Wind Spear Art and Suppressing Mountain Hand. Fortunately, Zhang Dekang had arranged a separate room for Night Sorrow and Mo Chen. Otherwise, it would have caused a shock. As for the Spirit Congealing Pill and Blood Essence Pill, Night Sorrow did not have any concerns. He had checked Feng Chen's alchemy manual. Continuous use of auxiliary pills only had pill poison, but it would not cause problems with energy instability. Night Sorrow had already cultivated 18 waves of oscillating energy. It was almost 3 waves of true energy every time he advanced. After cultivating the Chasing Wind Spear Art once again, he glanced at the dishes Zhang Dekang brought over. Night Sorrow nodded to Mo Chen and went to take a bath. Zhang Dekang already knew Night Sorrow's cultivation time. After Night Sorrow finished cultivating, Zhang Dekang would send servants to bring over food, but not wine. He knew that Night Sorrow and Mo Chen would drink the wine he brought. After taking a bath, Night Sorrow put on a linen robe and came to the table, sitting opposite Mo Chen. 13. This outfit might look old-fashioned on other people. It might not look elegant. However, on you, it looks very natural and refined, Emotion said with a smile. Senior brother, don't joke with me. What do we drink today? The azure blood wine is enough for the two of us to drink once, Night Sorrow said. Then let's drink with Uncle Nyo. That's wine for men, Emotion said. You mean my azure blood wine is not for men to drink? Then don't drink it in the future. Aoi appeared in front of the two. Sixth senior sister. Night Sorrow stood up and greeted Aoi. Sixth senior sister, that's not what I meant. Emotion hurriedly explained when he saw Aoi. It doesn't matter whether it is or not. 13, senior sister brought you some wine. Qingji took out a purple clay jug and handed it to Yishang. Thank you, sixth senior sister. Night Sorrow said as he put away the wine jar. He knew that this was the jar used to store the azure blood wine. The first 4 shots of the original P version. Sixth senior sister, you're too biased. Seeing that Night Sorrow had the azure blood brew while he didn't, Emotion immediately became anxious. Aoi glared at Emotion and said, What's the rush? Are you going to talk behind my back again? I don't dare. I really didn't. Emotion felt very innocent and didn't say anything. Okay, I'll stop joking with you guys. 13, who did you offend? Our Taishan Peak disciples outside received news that someone hired assassins to kill you. Master told me to come and take a look. Is it? Damn it. It can't be anyone other than Ao Yushan. That bastard even dares to do this. Emotion said angrily. What happened? Aoi frowned and asked. She knew that Night Sorrow and Emotion must have had a conflict with Ao Yushan recently. Night Sorrow didn't need to say anything. Emotion told her the cause of the matter. Aoi's face was as cold as ice. She paced back and forth in thought. Go straight to him. He won't admit it without evidence. If we just let him do whatever he wants, it's not the style of our Taishan Peak. 11. Continue to accompany 13 on missions. You guys don't have to worry about this anymore. I'll make him regret it. Aoi made a decision after thinking for a while. Sixth senior sister, what do you plan to do? Emotion asked. Isn't he playing dirty? Then we'll play along with him. I'll call old 8 and old 9. The Ao family won't be able to rest in peace. We can play dirty too. Let's see who's more ruthless. Aoi said coldly. This month's Black Iron missions were done poorly by 13. He'll stay here and cultivate. I'll accompany you guys to mess with them. Emotion said. 13 will stay here and cultivate. We'll take care of this old thing. Aoi knew Emotion's character. She didn't object. Even if she did, it would be useless. Emotion's pursuit of Luo Sihai for more than 10 years was a good example. Yishang originally wanted to stop Ao Yushan, but after thinking that he couldn't stop Ao Yushan, he didn't say anything. Ao Yushan wasn't just targeting him, he was also slapping Tai Xian Peak's face. Qingji and the others couldn't tolerate this. Aoi, Night Sorrow, and Emotion ate something and left. She was going to call Yang Lei and Shi Tianlin. Yu Yangyu took this matter very seriously. How could he not be angry when someone hired an assassin to kill his disciple? Taishan Peak had more than 40 official second-generation disciples. Compared to the other peaks, it was a small number. However, they were all strong. A while ago, when Tai Tsong's disciple went out to look for herbs, he heard about this from a friend. He immediately stopped looking for herbs and returned to Taishan Peak to report. Senior brother, this matter won't involve too many people, right? Night Sorrow was still a little worried. It's nothing. Ao Yushan's family business isn't small. He's the junior brother of Yuan Tai, the peak master of Wangyun Peak. He's not very talented. He just relied on time to get to where he is. There are many ways to deal with him. Cut off his source of income, cripple a few of his juniors, set fire to his house, and he'll be honest. Emotion took a sip of wine and said, Won't he report it to the sect? Probably not. Night Sorrow understood after asking. Ao Yushan wouldn't report it to the sect. Firstly, there was no evidence. Secondly, he knew what was going on. Once the truth was out, the Taishan Peak would be furious. Even 10 Ao Yushan wouldn't be enough. Smart. Let the senior brothers and sisters handle this. You just focus on your cultivation and try to enter the yuan gathering level as soon as possible. Emo-chan said to Night Sorrow. After finishing the wine, Night Sorrow went to cultivate. He believed that Aoi and the others would handle this matter well. There was nothing to worry about. Aoi and the others were not to be trifled with. Ao Yushan should be the one suffering. In the following days, Night Sorrow worked hard on his cultivation. He didn't know that the Danding city was about to be turned upside down. The city lord's caravan was robbed. Ao Kachang, who was escorting the caravan, had his legs broken. The Ao clan's medicine store was smashed. The city lord Ao Yushan's grandson, Ao Bing, offended someone when he was drinking. His teeth were knocked out, and he didn't even see who did it. Things happened one after another. Some people could tell that someone was targeting the city lord Ao Yushan. When Ao Lai was carried back, Ao Yushan smashed the table with his palm. Ao Lai was crippled, and he could no longer be a man. Big brother, we've offended someone we shouldn't have. Could it be the Taishin Peak? Ao Yukuan looked at his brother and said. He was the vice city lord of Danding City. He could tell that if they didn't deal with this, the Ao clan wouldn't be able to survive in Danding City. He also knew that Ao Yushan wanted to kill Night Sorrow. Hua Wuji, was it leaked? Ao Yushan looked at his trusted aide, Hua Wuji. I can't say for sure. Recently, I've contacted a few groups of assassins. They didn't accept the mission. I can't be sure if one of them leaked it. Hua Wuji bowed and said. Chapter 69. Now they know that we can't make a fuss, so they are doing this. If we don't do anything, the situation will become more and more passive, Ao Yukuan said. I understand. The key is how to resolve this situation. Since Tai Shen Peak has made a move, it means that they know that we are looking for assassins. They will not give up easily. Ao Yushan wished he could cut down Ao Lai, who was lying there and screaming. Ao Yukuan looked at Ao Lai and was very angry. If he hadn't provoked someone he shouldn't have, this wouldn't have happened. Bear with it for now. Tell everyone in the family not to go out. Tell the caravans and medicine shops to stop doing business first. Maybe they will calm down when they see that we admit defeat. Ao Yushan could only think of this solution. However, things were not over yet. Overnight, the medicine warehouse of the Ao family was set on fire and all the tamed animals in the training ground were killed. This caused the Ao family to suffer a great loss. It could be said that they suffered a great loss. Ao Yushan's eyes turned blue when he heard the news in the city lord's office. In the end, he decided to ask his master for help. His master was the elder of Medicine Valley. Medicine Valley was divided into 12 peaks. Each peak had its own master, elders, and guardians. Medicine Valley also had the elders and guardians who were in charge of the 12 peaks. The elders of Medicine Valley were superior to the masters and elders of each peak. Positive version ahead hair kg. There were two ways to produce a master of each peak. One was to be a disciple of the master of the peak. The other was to be a master of Medicine Valley who was outstanding. Ao Yushan and Yuan Tai were both disciples of Lu Chenyun, the fourth elder of Medicine Valley. Now that Ao Yushan couldn't control the situation, he could only explain the situation to his master and ask for help from Medicine Valley to stop Taishin Peak. Ao Yushan told Lu Chenyun about the situation at the back of Danding Peak in Medicine Valley. What a good-for-nothing. You're still looking for assassins. You're shooting yourself in the foot. They didn't follow the rules in Danding City. You couldn't suppress them, so you came back to find people to deal with them. What is this? Do you think Yu Yangyu is easy to talk to? Lu Chenyun was furious after hearing Yu Yangyu's report. He knew that it was hard to talk to Yu Yangyu, especially when it came to his disciples. That was his reverse scale. The incident with Guan Yi was an example. At that time, Yu Yangyu didn't give face to anyone. Lu Chenyun's seniority was higher than Yu Yangyu's, but his strength was not as good as Yu Yangyu's. Using the power of the sect to suppress Yu Yangyu was useless. Not to mention that Yu Yangyu had a good relationship with the Great Elder and the Valley Master. Yu Yangyu also had a master. Night Sorrow didn't know about this. He was in the middle of breaking through to the 7th level of the blood refining realm. To break through to the 6th level of the blood-refining realm, one needed to open the dragon tendons in the 4 limbs. To break through to the 7th level, one needed to open the small tendons in the hands and feet to strengthen the body. The hands and feet took up very little space in the body, but they were the most important places to attack in battle. Furthermore, the tendons were the most abundant. Night Sorrow's dragon tendons, neck, and 4 limbs were all filled with energy. Now he had enough energy to continue developing his body. He was developing his hands and feet. This time, the one helping Night Sorrow was Tianyu. Emotion, Aoi, Yang Lei, and Shitianlin were dealing with Ao Yushan. As the myriad Dao Tomes energy surged, the tendons in Night Sorrow's hands were opened one by one. At this moment, Night Sorrow only felt one thing: pain. As the saying goes, the 10 fingers are connected to the heart. The energy surging through the tendons in the hands and feet brought Night Sorrow too much pain. After using 6 hours to open the tendons in his hands and feet, Night Sorrow's entire body was soaked with sweat. Even his hair was stuck to his face. After successfully breaking through, Night Sorrow stretched out his hands and clenched his fists. Immediately, cracking sounds came from his hands. Night Sorrow knew that the strength in his hands had increased by a lot. After leaving the room, Night Sorrow saw his 2 senior sisters, 8th senior brother Shi Tianlin, and 11th senior brother drinking tea in the courtyard. "I'm going to take a bath first." Night Sorrow finished speaking and went to take a bath. What the hell is 13 cultivating? Why is he so miserable? Shi Tianlin frowned as he watched Night Sorrow go to take a bath. If Master hears this, he'll definitely beat you up. Can't you see that his blood chi has increased by a lot? Aoi looked at Shi Tianlin and said, "That's because he's cultivating a special technique. This will delay his cultivation of true chi," Shi Tianlin said. 8th senior brother, 13th's cultivation is now at chi refining stage 9. How long has it been since he entered the sect? How is it delayed? Yang Lei said with a smile. "Yeah, no matter how fast he is, his foundation will be unstable." Shi Tianlin nodded. Senior brothers, senior sisters. After taking a bath, Night Sorrow came over to greet them. You've grown a lot taller. How's your cultivation?" Yang Lei asked after pouring a cup of tea for Night Sorrow. "Thank you for your concern, 9th senior sister. Everything's going well. How about you guys? How's everything going?" Night Sorrow asked. "Of course it's going well. That old dog is pissed off now. Our people noticed that he went to Pill Cauldron Mountain. He's probably looking for the sect to settle it," Yang Lei said with a smile. "I don't know how the sect will deal with this. They'll probably stop us, right?" Emotion said. "Right now, we need to think about how to compensate him. If he can't give us a satisfactory compensation, then he'll continue to torture us," Aoi said. "Senior brothers, senior sisters, be careful. Don't push him too far." Night Sorrow was a little worried. 13, don't worry. If he has the strength to attack us, he won't go to the sect," Shi Tianlin said with a smile. As they chatted, Night Sorrow took out 2 bare legs from his storage belt and had Zhang Dekang prepare them. 13, pay more attention to actual combat. I heard that each peak has outstanding outer disciples participating in this year's competition. Their target is our Taishin Peak's 13 newcomers. Currently, our 13 newcomers aren't too far behind in cultivation, but their actual combat ability still needs to be tested. The only ones who can truly fight are Ma Zhuang, Tang Tian, and Chu Ning. But if we want to take first place in the competition, we'll still have to rely on you, Yang Lei said. "I'll do my best." Night Sorrow nodded. After chatting with Night Sorrow for a while, they left to continue looking for opportunities to deal with Ao Yushan. After chatting with Night Sorrow for a while, they left to continue looking for opportunities to deal with Ao Yushan. On the other hand, Night Sorrow had to adapt to his 7th level blood refinement realm strength as quickly as possible. It was almost the beginning of the month and he had to fight for missions. He cultivated steadily for 2 days. While increasing his chi cultivation, he also stabilized his 7th level blood refinement realm cultivation. Early in the morning, Danding City was very quiet. Night Sorrow arrived at Tianji Tower early. When he arrived, Tianji Tower was still closed, so he waited for a while. The moment Tianji Tower opened, Night Sorrow entered Tianji Tower. As soon as Yishang entered the Empyrean Terminus Tower, he saw Sikong Chuyu, who was wearing a light blue robe and a veil, walking down the stairs. Behind her were Enforcer Dong and 2 managers of the Empyrean Terminus Tower. "You're here." Sikong Chuyu greeted Night Sorrow with a smile. Night Sorrow nodded. "I'm here to accept a mission." Chapter 70. After receiving the mission list from Sikong Chuyu, Night Sorrow didn't even bother to drink the tea that the waiter had brought him. He started to list the missions. This one, and this one. Night Sorrow accepted 15 missions in one go. It could be said that he had accepted all the Black Iron missions that didn't waste his energy and had high points. Send them to Enforcer Dong. After helping Night Sorrow organize the missions, Sikong Chuyu handed the mission list to the waiter. "Thank you very much." Night Sorrow knew that the Sikong Chuyu's help was a big reason why he was able to accept the missions so easily. "It's nothing. After you finish this mission, you will probably be able to enter the Bronze Order level. There's no need to rush now. Take your time and drink your tea." Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. "You look so beautiful when you smile." Night Sorrow took a sip of tea and said, "This came from his heart, so it didn't sound fake. Instead, it sounded very sincere. Do you often say this to girls?" Sikong Chuyu looked into Night Sorrow's eyes and asked. "I only know 2 senior sisters. The other one is my 3rd senior brother's disciple. Sorry for being rude." At this moment, Night Sorrow felt that what he had said just now might have been inappropriate. He immediately stood up and apologized. Latest chapter Unspecified Currency Section 2 Supra 3U. Sit down. I know you don't mean anything else. You just said whatever comes to your mind. It's very sincere. By the way, you have a mission to collect purple gold, right? Sikong Chuyu asked. The mission location is a little far. Even if I have a flying demon beast, it will take me 2 days to get there. Night Sorrow nodded. Purple gold was a rare material for refining weapons. Now that Danding City was in short supply, someone had issued this mission. "I have a mission to hunt down a purple gold lizard. When are you going?" "Give me a shout," Sikong Chuyu said. "All right, then I'll finish all the quests that have a time limit and come look for you." Night Sorrow nodded. When Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu came out of the private room, the lobby of Tianji Tower was bustling again. Many of them were disciples of the Medicine Valley, including Qin Zhan, Qin Hai, and Kong Jun. There were also disciples of the Wangyun Peak. In addition, Night Sorrow also saw the Enlightenment who helped him in the Grass Valley. "Thank you for your help last time, Senior Enlightenment." Night Sorrow greeted Enlightenment. There's a difference in seniority. I'm a 3rd-generation disciple of Danding Peak. You're my junior master." Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Enlightenment hurriedly waved his hand. In Medicine Valley, seniority was very important. If word got out that Night Sorrow called him senior brother, there would be a big problem. "Is that so? I didn't know. Are you here for a mission too?" Night Sorrow asked. "That's right. I've brought a few outer sect disciples of Danding Peak here to pick up some missions to train them up. I wonder which B** took all the good missions away." Qi Ming said angrily. Night Sorrow was depressed. How did he become a bastard just because he accepted some missions? What I want to say is that Night Sorrow accepted quite a number of missions. Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow's troubled face and said, "Junior Master, I don't mean anything else. I don't mean to scold you." Hearing Sikong Chuyu's words, Qi Ming froze for a moment, and his face immediately turned green. This problem could be big or small. If the horny students of Tai Shen Peak knew about it, then their days would not be easy. "I know. It's okay. Let's drink together when we have time," Night Sorrow said with a smile. Although he was depressed, he knew that enlightenment did not mean it. Besides, he still owed enlightenment a favor. Why would he care about this? "That's good. Go ahead, Junior Master." Qi Ming saw that Yishang was not fussing, so he thought even more highly of Yishang. These days, There were too many second-generation masters. It was common for them to flaunt their prowess by relying on their father's or master's reputation, but Yi Shang was still calm. After exiting the gates of the celestial terminus tower, Yi Shang turned around and waved at Sikong Chuyu. Then he got on the beast carriage and headed towards the city gate. There were a few missions that had a time limit, so he had to hurry up and complete them. While Night Sorrow was doing his mission, the first elder and the fourth elder of Medicine Valley, Lu Chenyan, took Ao Yushan to Jingxin Cliff of Taishan Peak. Jingxin Cliff was where Yu Yangyu lived. When the three of them arrived at Jingxin Cliff, Nan Nan and Gong Xian were asking Yu Yangyu some questions about cultivation. First elder and fourth elder are here. Please take a seat. Yu Yangyu cupped his hands at the first elder who was holding a walking stick. Your place is much quieter. The first elder smiled and sat down. Yangyu, I've brought my good-for-nothing disciple here to apologize to you, Lu Chenyan said. Yu Yangyu lowered his head and took a sip of tea. He did not say anything. Yangyu, this matter needs to be resolved. The fourth elder also just found out about it. Didn't he come here immediately? The first elder said when he saw the awkward silence. Then I won't beat around the bush. Ao Yushan, how dare you hire assassins to deal with my disciple? If anything happens to my disciple, I'll wipe out your entire family. Yu Yangyu waved his sleeve and slapped Ao Yushan, causing him to stagger. I was confused. Ao Yushan did not dare to show any dissatisfaction. You dare to touch my junior brother? I'll kill you. Gong Xian, who did not know about this matter, stood up with a murderous look on his face. Calm down. Yu Yangyu stopped Gong Xian. Yangyu, Yushan is in the wrong. Now that the Ao family has suffered heavy losses, let's see how we can settle this. Lu Chenyan said. First elder, what do you think? Yu Yangyu looked at the first elder and asked. I'm just a middleman for you. Let's sit down and settle this matter. It's up to you how you want to settle it. The first elder shook his head. I'm willing to compensate. Tell them to stop messing around, Ao Yushan said with a bitter face. How? If there are people who secretly deal with my Taishan Peak's disciples in the future and ask for compensation after being discovered, how can this matter be settled? Yu Yangyu snorted coldly. Yangyu, I'll vouch for him this time. If he still holds a grudge and does anything else, I'll kill him myself, Lu Chenyan said. I'll give face to the fourth elder and the first elder. Tell me your compensation. Yu Yangyu said. I'll give you 30 upper-grade spirit stones and a courtyard in the Longquan Mountain, Ao Yushan said. Lu Chenyan really wanted to slap Ao Yushan. Yu Yangyu said that he would give face to him and the first elder, so he only needed to compensate them appropriately. Now that he had to compensate them with 30 upper-grade spirit stones and a courtyard in the Longquan Mountain, his heart ached. 30 upper-grade spirit stones were all the Ao family had. The fourth elder only had this much. As for the courtyard in the Longquan Mountain Villa, it was even more precious. There were two scenic spots around Danding City. One was the Greenstone Forest, and the other was the Longquan Mountain. At the foot of the Longquan Mountain was the Skywater Lake. The Longquan Mountain Villa only had one courtyard, which was the property of the Ao family. This courtyard was precious not only because of the land, but also because it was located in a natural formation. It could absorb the water spirit chi of the Skywater Lake, which could calm people's mind. Then let's do it. Gong Xian, you go and receive it and give it to 13, Yu Yangyu said. Chapter 71. Lu Chenyan and Ao Yushan's expressions changed. Great elder, it's not that serious, is it? Lu Chenyan asked. This is an order from the Grand Elder Council. There are some things that you don't need to know. Also, let me tell you, Yi Shan has my medallion on him right now. Nothing happened to him, but if something did happen... The Grand Elder harumphed twice, then stood up and left. Look at what you've done. Lu Chenyan glared at Ao Yushan and left without caring about it. All right, Gong Xian, follow him and complete the task. Yu Yangyu waved to Gong Xian and Ao Yushan. Ao Yushan, who walked down Taishan Peak, was still in shock. He knew that he had asked for peace, or the consequences would be very serious. This time, Night Sorrow completed all 5 missions with a time limit before returning to the Celestial Terminus Tower. Sikong Chiyu was not there. Night Sorrow handed in the tasks to the ordinary staff and returned to the inn. In the inn, Night Sorrow saw Aoi, Yang Lei, and Emochin. To his surprise, Gong Xian was also there. "Little 13, you're back. How are the tasks?" Gong Xian asked with a smile. "I've completed all the time-limited tasks. The rest can be done slowly. Why are you here, great senior brother?" Night Sorrow sat down and asked. "To give you something good. Ao Yushan gave in and gave you 30 high-grade spirit stones. I'm so jealous." Gong Xian handed a bag of spirit stones to Night Sorrow. "I don't want this. Great senior brother, you can take it and distribute it to the senior brothers and sisters." Night Sorrow pushed the bag of spirit stones back to Gong Xian. "This is what you should take." Gong Xian shook his head. "I need spirit stones. I'll work hard. These are what you guys fought for. I don't want them." Night Sorrow shook his head. Gong Xian and Yang Lei looked at each other, not knowing what to do. "All right, your 2 senior brothers and senior sister have also worried a lot during this period of time. Old 6th, you guys take it and divide it." Gong Xian handed the bag of spirit stones to Qing Ji. "How can we do that? 13, you can take it. It's all for senior brothers and sisters. Don't mind it." "Visit 6th senior sister, I really don't need it now. You guys can have it." Night Sorrow said. "Us senior brothers and senior sisters will face difficulties together. If there is wine and meat, we will eat together. Each of us will get 2 pieces and give the rest to Master." Aoi made her decision. She opened the bag, took out 2 spirit stones, and pushed them in front of Night Sorrow. This time, Night Sorrow didn't refuse. He also took 2 spirit stones. Aoi's words were reasonable. If he didn't take it, it meant that he didn't agree. Yang Lei and Shi Tianlin each took 2 spirit stones. Then they passed the bag to Gong Xian. "We'll divide the spirit stones like this. There's also a compensation. 13, come with me to receive it later." Gong Xian said. "Receive what?" Night Sorrow took a sip of tea and asked. "There are 2 compensation. One is spirit stones, and the other is a villa. You don't have to stay in the inn in Danding City anymore. Let's go now." Gong Xian stood up and said, "Dekang, arrange 2 servants to help 13 look after the villa." Emochin said to Zhang Dekang when they left the inn. After finding 2 beast carriages, the group took the 2 servants arranged by Zhang Dekang and walked towards the south gate of Danding City. After exiting the city gate, it took an hour for the group to reach the lakeside of Skywater Lake. They arrived at a very simple manor. When they arrived at the entrance of the manor, a steward appeared. "Excuse me, are you from Tai Xian Peak? Is Master Knight here?" "I am Night Sorrow." Night Sorrow took 2 steps forward and said, "The city lord said that if Master Knight is here, we can leave. This is the deed." The old butler handed a brocade box to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow opened the brocade box and saw that it was the deed for the villa. It also included the ownership of the surrounding 30 miles. In other words, this area was private property. "If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave." The old butler bowed to Night Sorrow and the others and left with a few servants. 13, this will be your territory from now on. Shaoliozi, you guys go and tidy up." Emochin shouted to one of the servants sent by Zhang Dekang. This person had been serving him and Night Sorrow for a long time and was quite familiar with him. Shaoliozi ran in and opened the door. 11, you have a sense of accomplishment when you call him Shaoliozi. Aoi squinted at Emochin. 6th senior sister, don't think too much. I didn't mean it." Hearing Aoi's words, Emochin slapped his forehead. He knew that he shouldn't call him Shaoliozi in the future. The villa was very grand. Not to mention the surrounding pavilions, the 3-story main building was very grand. There were wood and stone carvings in the hall. "These decorations are expensive. Why didn't they take them away?" Yang Lei sat on an armchair and said, "He's trying to be friendly. He knows that if we can't take this lying down, we won't let him off." Gong Xian also sat down. Entering this villa gives me a refreshing feeling. Night Sorrow took a deep breath and said. Yang Lei and Night Sorrow strolled back and forth in the hall, looking at the villa. Gong Xian talked about the most precious parts of the villa and the natural formation. Look at 6th edition #, Chapter 1. No wonder 13 said that he felt relaxed and happy. I also feel that my mind is clear, Qingji said. Eldest senior brother, look. Night Sorrow took out the brocade box. So, I know what you want to say. There's no need for so many things between us brothers. Just take it. This was arranged by First Elder and Master. Gong Xian directly interrupted Night Sorrow. He knew that Night Sorrow didn't want it, so he quickly covered Night Sorrow's mouth. 13, just stay. Don't make things difficult for our senior brother. Besides, our senior brothers and sisters have their own strongholds in the future, right? Emochin said. All right then. Night Sorrow didn't refuse. Go get us something to eat. We want to have a drink. Emochin called out to Little Six. He didn't dare to call out to Little Six because he was afraid that Aoi would punish him. Taishan Peak disciples had an order of seniority. The younger ones would always listen to the older ones, even if they were wrong. This was Yu Yangyu's rule. Therefore, Emo Chen and Shi Tianlin didn't refute Aoi and Yang Lei's words. 13. Leave a pavilion for 9th senior sister. She'll be in seclusion soon, Yang Lei said to Night Sorrow. Of course, we definitely will. There are so many pavilions here. Senior brothers and sisters will all have a place, said Yishang. While Little Six was preparing to eat, Night Sorrow and the others strolled back and forth in the villa, looking at it. They're all precious trees. The rockery is made of black jade. The pond is made of green jade. The Ao family is really powerful, Emochin said with some emotion in the garden in front of the villa. You don't know. This was passed down from the ancestors of the Ao family for who knows how many years. Therefore, the Ao family suffered a great loss this time, Gong Xian said. Chapter 72. There were odd-job workers and maidservants in secluded forest cottage. Odd-job workers were registered in the Medicine Valley, but maidservants were not. Maidservants belonged to individuals. The maidservants in secluded forest cottage were rescued by Qingji when she was out training. Senior sister, am I that kind of person? Night Sorrow said with a wry smile. I'm not saying you're that kind of person. I just have to remind you of something, Aoi said with a smile. Actually, your 6th senior sister is right. Many women are more scheming. Someone like you is their goal to change their life and destiny, Gong Xian said. I understand, Night Sorrow nodded. After eating and staying for a while, Gong Xian, Aoi, and Shi Tianlin left. Yang Lei was going to cultivate in seclusion at Night Sorrow's place. Emochin had nothing else to do, so he planned to watch over Night Sorrow for a while longer. Yang Lei chose a loft near Skywater Lake and let out her blue condor. Emochin also chose a place near the main building. Night Sorrow arranged for Tianyu to stay in the area next to the main building. After that, Night Sorrow left some gold notes for Little Six to buy some demon corpses to feed his, Aoi's, and Emochen's flying beasts. He also wanted to buy a beast carriage. After explaining everything, Yi Shang went to cultivate. After settling down for 2 days, Night Sorrow took the beast carriage to Tianji Tower. He told the staff that he wanted to see Sikong Chuyu because he was going to do the Purple Gold Mine mission. After Night Sorrow drank a cup of tea, Sikong Chuyu, who was wearing a long robe and a veil, came to the private room. You're here. Are you going to do the Purple Gold Mine mission? Sikong Chuyu pulled the veil and sat down. That's right. I've already finished the missions with a tight time limit. I was afraid that you'd be anxious, so I wanted to do the Purple Gold Mine first, Night Sorrow said. Okay, is there anything else you need to prepare? Sikong Chuyu asked. No, what about you? Night Sorrow asked. There's nothing much to prepare. Let's go. Sikong Chuyu stood up and said. Once they were out of Tianji Tower, the two of them hailed a beast carriage and headed out of Danding City. What compensation did Ao Yushan give you this time? Sitting in the beast carriage, Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow with a smile. 30 spirit stones and a courtyard. How did you know? After answering, Night Sorrow asked in astonishment. You don't know much about Tianji Tower. You can tell them some things. As long as Tianji Tower wants to know, they'll know, Sikong Chuyu said. Night Sorrow moved his body. He was sitting face to face with Sikong Chuyu. Sikong Chuyu's breath made him feel uneasy. What's wrong with you? There's no need to reject me. I don't mean any harm, Sikong Chuyu explained. She saw Night Sorrow move his body and thought Night Sorrow was rejecting her. I know. Night Sorrow took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Don't think too much about it. The Empyrean Extreme Tower has issued all kinds of missions, so the Empyrean Extreme Tower in various places are aware of the movements of various forces. However, none of them are hostile, Sikong Chuyu said. I understand. Yi Shang nodded and didn't say anything else. Seeing that Yi Shang didn't speak, Sikong Chuyu also didn't continue to speak. She felt that Yi Shang was a bit strange. Although he said he was rejecting her, he wasn't rejecting her, but his situation was clearly different from before. After leaving Danding City, Sikong Chuyu paid the fare. Where's your flying tamed beast? Sikong Chuyu asked Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and let Tianyu out. After exiting the tamed beast space, Tianyu let out a cry and rubbed his head against Night Sorrow's shoulder. This is? An ancient mutant with the bloodline of the ancient Azure Rock and intelligence? Sikong Chuyu asked in surprise. Looking at Tianyu, Sikong Chuyu asked. My master said that he has the bloodline of the ancient Azure Rock and Xuanluan. However, he's still young and his bloodline power hasn't awakened yet, Night Sorrow said as he stroked Tianyu. Your master really treasures you. He got you such a promising beast, Sikong Chuyu said as she looked at Tianyu. No, it was injured a while ago. I brought it back to my place and it followed me. It even saved my life. Night Sorrow reached out and smoothed the feathers on Tianyu's neck. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Sikong Chuyu straightened her body and began to look at Night Sorrow. She now felt that Night Sorrow was even more ridiculous than Tianyu. He could casually pick up a beast with the bloodline of an ancient mutant beast. Wasn't that even more unbelievable? Sikong, do you have a flying beast? Night Sorrow asked. Although I really want to sit on your flying demonic beast, I do have a flying demonic beast. Sikong Chuyu raised her jade arm, and a fiery red flying demonic beast appeared in Yi Shang's field of vision. When the fiery red flying beast appeared, Tianyu stretched out his body and got into an attacking posture. Tianyu! Night Sorrow stood in front of Tianyu. /Moinute, chapter * top, Fire Phoenix. Sikong Chuyu also stood in front of the fiery red flying beast. At this moment, Night Sorrow finally had the time to carefully look at Sikong Chuyu's flying beast. It was a fiery red flying beast that was several times larger than Tianyu's body. It was very similar to the phoenix that Night Sorrow had seen in the Fey catalog. It has the bloodline of an ancient mutant beast, the Fire Phoenix. Because it is female, I call it the Fire Phoenix, Sikong Chuyu said. It is indeed very handsome. Night Sorrow had to nod his head. The Fire Phoenix was now much more impressive than Tianyu. After all, it was in a different stage of growth. However, Tianyu didn't admit defeat and kept staring at the Fire Phoenix with his golden eyes. How about this? Your Tianyu is still young and will be slower. You can ride the Fire Phoenix with me. Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and said, Sikong, you go first. I will take my time. Night Sorrow understood that following Sikong Chuyu wasn't just on the way. It was completely borrowing her light. It's okay. This is a mining mission. Let's go. Sikong Chuyu could see that Night Sorrow didn't want to trouble her. This made her think even more highly of Night Sorrow. This was a proud character that didn't accept charity. I think it's better not. Night Sorrow shook his head. What's wrong with you? I've waited for a few days and you're not coming? Aren't we friends? Sikong Chuyu finished speaking and walked to Night Sorrow's side. She grabbed Night Sorrow's arm and floated onto the Fire Phoenix's back. Then she let the Fire Phoenix fly into the sky. When the Fire Phoenix flew into the sky, Tianyu also flew into the sky. Sikong. Night Sorrow didn't know what to say. Not friends? Sikong had helped him a few times, but he wasn't used to this. Well, it's just a mission together. When we reach the place, you do your thing. I won't help you, Sikong said with a smile. At the same time, she let go of Night Sorrow's arm and moved to the back of the Fire Phoenix's neck. She pulled the veil and sat down. Thank you, Sikong. Night Sorrow also sat down. You idiot, can't you come over here? The wind is so strong over there. Seeing Night Sorrow sit down at the back of the Fire Phoenix, Sikong said with some disappointment. Chapter 73. Looking at Night Sorrow's slightly red face, Sikong Chu understood what was going on. Night Sorrow was nervous and embarrassed. Go starter 0-inch Sikong, how about I put Tianyu away? Your Fire Phoenix is too fast. If Tianyu flies at full speed for too long, it won't be able to withstand it. After flying for a quarter of an hour, Night Sorrow said. Sikong Chu nodded and controlled the Fire Phoenix to slow down. Then, he let Night Sorrow put Tianyu back into the beast taming space. In a day's time, Sikong Chu and Night Sorrow arrived at the Purple Gold Mountain. After controlling the Fire Phoenix to land, Sikong Chu looked at Night Sorrow. Let's go hunt the Purple Gold Beast King first. There must be high-purity purple gold where it lives. I'll listen to you. Night Sorrow nodded. Okay, then let's go. Sikong Chu led the way in front. Sikong, what level is the Purple Gold Beast King? Night Sorrow, who was beside Sikong Chu, asked. According to the mission, the Purple Gold Beast King is a rank 4 beast. Sikong Chu threw out words that made Night Sorrow dumbfounded. Night Sorrow was stunned. He had never even seen a rank 3 beast king before. Now, Sikong Chu wanted to kill a rank 4 beast king. Why are you so nervous? I'm the one who's going to kill it, not you. Sikong Chu said with a smile. I'm not nervous. I'm shocked. I didn't expect Sikong to be so powerful. Night Sorrow knew that Sikong's cultivation was high. The lowest was rank 4 spirit severing stage or above. Mo Chen, who was at the peak of core condensation, couldn't see through her cultivation. When you reach my age, you will be even more powerful than me. Sikong did not reveal his cultivation level. Then Sikong, how old are you this year? Night Sorrow regretted the moment he asked the question. It was a little rude to ask such a question to a woman. You also know that this question is inappropriate? Seeing the change in Yi Shang's expression, Sikong Chu understood Yi Shang's psychological situation. I'm sorry, Night Sorrow said after a moment of hesitation. Sikong Chu smiled and walked up Mount Jijin without another word. The Purple Gold Mountain had a radius of several thousand miles, but there were not many places that produced purple gold. Many people came here to seek for gold, but very few people had any gains. The most common demonic beast on Mount Jijin was the Purple Gold Beast. This demonic beast relied on consuming purple gold to survive. Its level was not high, but its combat power was very strong. High-level cultivators disdained to dig for purple gold, and low-level cultivators could not dig for purple gold, so purple gold was scarce. Do you have a target? Night Sorrow asked when he saw Sikong Chu walking forward without hesitation. Yes, I've seen the map. I know where the Purple Gold Beast King is. Sikong Chu, who was walking in front, turned around and said. The moment she turned around, Night Sorrow, who was walking behind her, was caught off guard. He bumped into Sikong Chu. When Night Sorrow stopped, the two of them were only half a foot apart. Smelling Sikong Chu's scent, Night Sorrow hurriedly took a step back. Sikong Chu also took a step back. What are you doing? Sikong Chu's face turned red. She had never been so close to a man before. How would I know you would stop? Night Sorrow said, feeling wronged. Yes, let's go. It's still early. If possible, let's finish the mission today before resting, Sikong Chu said. Sikong Chu walked in front, and Night Sorrow followed closely behind. Sikong, since you know the location, why don't you ride the Fire Phoenix directly to the target location? Night Sorrow was confused. You don't understand. The purple gold beast feeds on purple gold, and its body contains purple gold impurities. These impurities are very corrosive. We don't know where the purple gold beast is hiding on Purple Gold Mountain, but if a purple gold beast sprays purple gold impurities at the fire phoenix, the fire phoenix will be injured, Sikong Chuyu explained to Night Sorrow. However, he did not stop walking. Night Sorrow understood. Riding a flying Yao beast was dangerous. Just as Night Sorrow was thinking about this problem, a long sword appeared in Sikong Chuyu's hand. He swung his sword forward. After the sword light flashed, a light purple Yao beast that was 4 feet long and had sharp claws was cut in half. After killing a purple gold beast with a single sword strike, Sikong Chuyu continued forward. Fast. This sword was too fast. The purple gold beast was very fast, but it was too slow in front of Sikong Chuyu's sword. Night Sorrow took out his reincarnation spear and followed behind Sikong Chuyu. Sikong Chuyu was leading the way, and Night Sorrow's job was to cover the rear. After advancing for about 2 hours, Sikong Chuyu stopped. She twisted her delicate body and looked at Night Sorrow. The purple gold beast king is in the cave up ahead. It's already heading outside. Retreat, don't go forward. Night Sorrow took a few steps back. He knew that this kind of battle wasn't something he could participate in. Holding his long sword, Sikong Chuyu stared ahead. Not good, retreat. Sikong Chuyu's body flashed. She grabbed Night Sorrow's shoulder and flashed away quickly. Night Sorrow turned his head to look. A Yao beast that was more than 1 zhang tall and covered in purple gold scales appeared. It was originally lying on the ground, but after it leaped up, Night Sorrow saw its sharp claws shining with a metallic light. After this Yao beast leaped up, it didn't land on the ground. Instead, it flew directly towards Sikong Chuyu and Night Sorrow. This damned information. The purple gold beast king has reached the peak of rank 4. Hurry up and leave. Sikong Chuyu waved her arm and flung Night Sorrow away. After landing on the ground, Night Sorrow looked up. Sikong Chuyu's body was fluttering in the wind. The long sword in her hand was attacking continuously, fighting with the purple gold beast king in the air. Then, she landed on the ground and soared into the air again. 1 man and 1 beast kept attacking each other. No matter if it was a man or a Yao beast, once they reached rank 4, they would be able to fly for a short period of time. Currently, Sikong Chuyu and the purple gold beast king were in this state. The purple gold beast king was suppressing Sikong Chuyu. Its 4 sharp claws and mouth with hooked teeth were constantly attacking Sikong Chuyu. Yao beasts of the same level were stronger than humans. It was normal for a rank 4 purple gold beast king to suppress Sikong Chuyu, who had yet to reach rank 5. If Sikong Chuyu had reached rank 5, she wouldn't have to land on the ground and fly again. She would be able to suppress the purple gold beast king in the air. You can't compare to it in terms of energy. When it comes to fighting on the ground, you have to rely on flexibility. After watching the battle for a while and seeing Sikong Chuyu being suppressed and sent flying, Night Sorrow discovered the crux of the matter. After listening to Night Sorrow's words, Sikong Chuyu landed on the ground and started fighting the purple gold beast king on the ground. Stay away from it. It will spit out impurities. During the battle, Sikong Chuyu did not forget to remind Night Sorrow. She knew that it would be useless to ask Night Sorrow to leave. If Night Sorrow was that kind of person, he would have run away the moment the battle started. What's its weakness? Night Sorrow shouted as she stood on top of a large boulder. The place where the back of its neck connects to its head, Sikong Chuyu shouted as she defended against the purple gold beast king's attacks. This won't do. It's too strong. Come to where I am and circle around the boulder. Look for an opportunity, Night Sorrow said as she leaped to the top of the boulder and crouched down. After listening to Night Sorrow's suggestion, Sikong Chuyu led the purple gold beast king to the side of the boulder. She circled the boulder and fought the purple gold beast king. Why aren't you leaving? What are you doing up there? Sikong Chuyu was surprised to see Night Sorrow crouching on top of the boulder. A rank 1 cultivator was not running away at a time like this. Calling him courageous would be a compliment. Calling him stupid would be more accurate. Chapter 74. Sikong Chuyu, who was fighting, shouted at Night Sorrow as she retreated around the boulder, "Night Sorrow, don't do anything rash. This guy is completely different from what the quest described. He's at the peak of Tier 4. I can't kill him. Even leaving is a problem. This guy's speed is too fast." Night Sorrow did not say anything. He knew that Sikong Chuyu was telling the truth. The Purple Gold Beast King would not give Sikong Chuyu the chance to release her Fire Phoenix and fly away safely. "What are you waiting for?" Sikong Chuyu roared again. At the same time, she hurriedly dodged. The Purple Gold Beast King, who had not caught up to her after a few rounds, was enraged. It opened its mouth and spat out a dark purple light. Swish! The dark purple light landed on the boulder, creating a black hole in the boulder. Small, honeycomb-like craters appeared all around it. The craters were still deepening. This was the effect of the Purple Gold Beast King's poison. However, after spitting out the poison, the Purple Gold Beast King's speed had decreased. The purple light on its body had also dimmed. It took a while for it to recover. "Sikong, while paying attention to your own safety, try to make it go crazy. I noticed that after it spat out the poison, its attack power has decreased." Night Sorrow squatted on the boulder and shouted at Sikong Chuyu. Normally, he could only see two shadows. Just now, after the Purple Gold Beast King spat out the poison, he could clearly see the Purple Gold Beast King's body. "Okay, don't do anything rash." Sikong Chuyu's voice was somewhat incoherent. Continuous high-intensity movements and high-intensity battles had consumed a lot of her energy. After an hour, the light on the Purple Gold Beast King's body had dimmed. Its speed had also decreased. It had already spat out 7 or 8 mouthfuls of the Purple Gold Beast King's impurities. Its condition was also somewhat dispirited. Sikong Chuyu's situation was not much better. The hand holding the long sword trembled. Her robes were soaked in sweat. "Hurry up and leave. I can't hold on any longer." Sikong Chuyu shouted at the Night Sorrow on the rock. At this time, the Purple Gold Beast King once again spat out the purple gold poison at Sikong Chuyu. After the Purple Gold Beast King spat out the poison, Night Sorrow made his move. He leaped down from the big rock and rode on the Purple Gold Beast King's body. The Purple Gold Beast King's body was even more dispirited now, and its speed had decreased to a minimum. He exerted strength in his legs and clamped the Purple Gold Beast King's body tightly. He held the reincarnation spear in his hands and stabbed it into the Purple Gold Beast King's neck and head. Night Sorrow was very shocked when the reincarnation spear pierced half a foot into the Purple Gold Beast King's body. One had to know that his arms now had the strength of a few thousand kilograms. Coupled with the fact that the reincarnation spear was incomparably sharp, it had only pierced half a foot into the Purple Gold Beast King's body. How strong was its defense? This was his only chance. Night Sorrow knew that if he didn't seize this opportunity, then both he and Sikong Chuyu would die here. At this time, Sikong Chuyu was completely exhausted and fell to the ground. With a low roar, Night Sorrow's arms trembled as he exerted all the strength in his body. Following that, the true chi in his dantian exploded, and the vibration force was poured into the reincarnation spear. The reincarnation spear, which had been infused with all the strength of the 7th level of the blood-refining realm by Night Sorrow and the vibration force, pierced through the Purple Gold Beast King's neck and head. Again, Night Sorrow exerted strength in his waist and pressed the Purple Gold Beast King's body against the ground. He exerted strength in his arms and stabbed downward again. He wanted to nail the Purple Gold Beast King here because if the Purple Gold Beast King attacked again, then Sikong Chuyu would be in danger. Under Night Sorrow's pressure, the Purple Gold Beast King's 2 front legs couldn't support it and it knelt on the ground. This allowed Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear to pierce through its neck and into the hard purple gold or ground. The Purple Gold Beast King exerted strength in its 2 hind legs and moved forward. Night Sorrow exerted strength in his arms and stabbed the reincarnation spear into the ground, not allowing the Purple Gold Beast King to move. Night Sorrow's strength was great, but the Purple Gold Beast King's strength was even greater. It carried Night Sorrow and dragged the reincarnation spear along the deep trench in the ground as it continued to crawl towards Sikong Chuyu. "Get up, let's go," Night Sorrow exerted strength as he shouted at Sikong Chuyu, who was still sitting on the ground. Sikong Chuyu stood up and gritted his teeth. His body flashed and he stabbed his sword toward the Purple Gold Beast King's open mouth. The Purple Gold Beast King twisted its head, and Sikong Chuyu's sword missed its mark. The Sikong Chuyu, who had missed its mark, retreated a few steps. However, it stepped on a protruding rock and fell to the ground. The Purple Gold Beast King, who had turned its head, moved its body and raised its head. Not good. Night Sorrow knew that this was the prelude to the Purple Gold Beast King spewing out purple gold impurities. %3 Look at #Zeng Edition Chapter C. Plus M. Night Sorrow forcefully slapped the reincarnation spear with his left hand. He leaped up and pounced toward Sikong Chuyu. At this moment, Night Sorrow's mind didn't think of anything else. He just felt that he couldn't let Sikong Chuyu get hurt. Pain. A heart-wrenching pain came from his back. After that, Night Sorrow lost consciousness. When he opened his eyes, Night Sorrow realized that he was lying on a rock. Sikong Chuyu was washing a towel beside him. The towel was covered in blood. Night Sorrow realized that he was half naked. Not far from him was the Purple Gold Beast King's corpse. However, the corpse was covered in wounds. You're awake? I helped you kill it. Does your back hurt? Sikong Chuyu came to Night Sorrow's side, squatted down and asked. It hurts. It really hurts. The purple gold impurities that this fellow spewed out were really powerful. Night Sorrow moved his body and felt that his back was really hurting. Oh, this is because it spewed out a lot of purple gold impurities. Plus, its life was in danger, so it only spewed out a little bit of purple gold impurities. Otherwise, you would be dead. Why are you so silly? Sikong Chuyu took the towel and cleaned Night Sorrow's back. It's fine as long as I'm not dead. Night Sorrow took out a set of clothes and sat up to put them on. Don't put them on. Not dead? If I didn't bring the antidote, you would be dead. Don't put on your clothes first. Wait for your wounds to scab before putting them on. Otherwise, they will scab, Sikong Chuyu said. I can't be naked all the time, right? Night Sorrow said gloomily. Don't worry. It will scab after half a day, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Night Sorrow nodded and didn't say anything else. He didn't mind spending half a day to harvest the purple gold. Thank you for this time. You can't be so silly in the future, Sikong Chuyu said to Night Sorrow. I know. You're not hurt, are you? Night Sorrow asked Sikong Chuyu. My arm is a little injured, but you blocked most of it. Otherwise, even if I didn't die, I would be disfigured. Sikong Chuyu's face was a little red. At the most critical moment, Night Sorrow had hugged her and blocked the purple gold impurities that the Purple Gold Beast King had spewed out with his back. This Purple Gold Beast King is really powerful. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine, opened it, and took a sip. Chapter 75. Tianji Tower is too much of a scam. Why didn't they create a rank 5 monster? Night Sorrow said angrily when he saw the bandage wrapped around Sikong Chuyu's arm. If the Purple Gold Beast King's cultivation was 1 or 2 levels lower than what the intelligence said, it might have been a temporary change. But this time, it was 5 levels lower. The intelligence must have been wrong. Sikong Chuyu was also very annoyed. Fortunately, the mission is completed. Night Sorrow twisted his body. The ointment on his body made him very uncomfortable. Night Sorrow grimaced in pain when he twisted his body. I told you not to move. The most precious thing on the Purple Gold Beast King's body is its Purple Gold Beast Core. It is also my mission item. I'm giving up on this mission. Sikong Chuyu placed a fist-sized core crystal that was glowing purple in front of Night Sorrow. What are you doing? Aren't we friends? Night Sorrow felt a little uncomfortable when he saw Sikong Chuyu take out the Purple Gold Beast King's core crystal. That's not what I meant. The main thing is that this Purple Gold Beast core is too precious. You exchanged your life for it, Sikong Chuyu said. If we're friends, then just take it. Give me the wine. Night Sorrow pointed at the wine jar in Sikong Chuyu's hand. Sikong Chuyu smiled. This jar of wine is mine. At the same time, he put away the beast core. Sikong Chuyu originally estimated that Night Sorrow's wound would scab over in half a day and that he would be able to move in 2 days. But in reality, Night Sorrow's recovery ability shocked her. In 2 hours, the wound on his back had already scabbed over. After a night's rest, Night Sorrow could move again. When Night Sorrow could move again, the two of them entered the underground cave and began to harvest the purple gold. The purple gold Beast King's cave was very deep. The two of them went 5 to 6 li underground before they reached the end of the cave. At this time, there was no light at all. They were relying on the luminous pearl in Sikong Chuyu's hand for illumination. At the bottom of the cave, the two of them saw purple gold ores shining with purple light. Where the purple gold Beast King stayed, the purity of the purple gold ores was very high. Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu started to collect the precious materials. Of course, the more the better. C/G 1 cm P7 version. The other Ps are pirated when they arrived. Night Sorrow had brought along mining tools, while Sikong Chuyu had taken out a long sword. The two of them began mining at the bottom of the cave. After harvesting for 2 hours, Sikong Chuyu stopped. The empty space in her storage ring was already filled. She found it strange that Night Sorrow's harvesting speed was faster than hers. Where did he put all the purple gold ores? Unable to hold back her curiosity, Sikong Chuyu asked, Night Sorrow, where did you put all the purple gold ores? Storage belt, Night Sorrow said without looking up. Sikong Chuyu really wanted to say bullshit. Was there such a big storage belt? If there was, then no one would use a storage ring. But then she thought that Night Sorrow might have more than one storage belt. After digging for 3 hours, the two of them left the underground cave. Night Sorrow had also dug out purple gold ores. That was a treasure dozens of times more valuable than purple gold ores. Night Sorrow originally wanted to continue digging, but Sikong Chuyu stopped him. She was worried that Night Sorrow's wounds would split open or sweat, which would be detrimental to his recovery. Night Sorrow didn't think there was any problem. He had cultivated all night yesterday and found that his wounds were healing very quickly, especially when the blood-refining energy circulated to his back. However, he didn't tell Sikong Chuyu about this. After coming to the surface, Sikong Chuyu released Fire Phoenix. Weren't you afraid of the purple gold ores coming out of the purple gold ores? Night Sorrow asked. You really are a blockhead. We don't need to scout this time. Can't we just have Fire Phoenix fly high in the sky? Where is your next mission location? Sikong Chuyu grabbed Night Sorrow's shoulder and landed on Fire Phoenix's back, allowing it to fly. The next mission is to go to Thousand Mountain City and get a black ironwood, Night Sorrow said. With Fire Phoenix's rapid flight, the two of them arrived at Thousand Mountain City's black ironwood forest in a day. What kind of weapon is this? Sikong Chuyu muttered to himself outside the black ironwood forest with a frown. What's wrong? Night Sorrow didn't understand why Sikong Chuyu would say that. Didn't you take a mission for black ironwood grass a while ago? The missions of the Green Tong Token and Silver Token also have missions to collect materials. This time, you took the Purple Gold Mine mission. I took the mission to hunt for the Purple Gold Beast King's Beast Core. Now, it's black ironwood. Someone must want to forge a weapon. Sikong Chuyu said, That has nothing to do with us. Night Sorrow didn't think too much about it. That's enough. The only danger here is the Red Line Snake and Fire Phoenix. These Yao beasts won't come out. Go chop down a black ironwood tree. We'll go to Thousand Mountain City to rest. Tomorrow we'll go to your next mission location, Sikong Chuyu said. I'll take care of the next mission myself. Thank you very much, Night Sorrow said as he chopped down the black ironwood tree. Black ironwood tree was extremely hard. After refinement, it could be fused with ores, increasing the hardness of the ores. Thus, Night Sorrow wasn't having an easy time chopping it down. What do you mean by you'll do it yourself? You're injured and will delay the progress of the mission. I'm afraid you won't be able to complete it, Sikong Chuyu said as he glanced at Night Sorrow. After chopping for the time it took to brew a cup of tea, Night Sorrow finally chopped down a black ironwood tree. After dealing with it according to the length of the mission, Night Sorrow nodded to Sikong Chuyu. After leaving the Black Ironwood Forest, Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu rode the Fire Phoenix to Chenshan City and found an inn. After asking the attendant to prepare food, Sikong Chuyu nodded to Night Sorrow and said, "Let's go, I'll change your medicine." "No need. I feel almost better," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "Let's go," Sikong Chuyu said as he came to Night Sorrow's side. Night Sorrow nodded and entered the room, then took off his shirt. "The muscle cleansing ointment's effect is so strong? You're almost healed, the scabs are falling off," Sikong Chuyu said as he looked at Night Sorrow's back. "I told you there's no need." Yi Shang slowly put on his clothes. Sikong Chuyu didn't stop Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow had indeed recovered and didn't need to apply medicine. Bang, bang. There was a knock on the door. Night Sorrow got up and opened the door. "I'm sorry to disturb the two of you. The food is ready, you can enjoy it at any time." The attendant directly closed the door. "What's there to be embarrassed about?" Night Sorrow said as he put on his clothes and tidied himself up. "That bastard." Sikong Chuyu blushed. Of course, she understood what the attendant meant. The attendant saw Night Sorrow's messy clothes and thought that there was something going on in the room. "Don't scold him, he's just asking us to eat," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "It's embarrassing to be killed by you." Sikong Chuyu glared at Night Sorrow and left. During the meal, Sikong Chuyu was still a bit unnatural. "Sikong, what kind of weapon do you think needs so many materials?" Night Sorrow asked. "13, you have a lot of connections." Aoi didn't get angry anymore. She put her hand on Night Sorrow's shoulder and said, "Sixth senior sister, that Sikong is an absolute beauty. You haven't seen her. She's breathtakingly beautiful," Emochin said with a smile. 13, the more beautiful a woman is, the more dangerous she is. You have to be careful. Aoi reminded Night Sorrow after hearing Emochen's words. "Sixth senior sister, aren't you a beauty too? But senior sister, you're very good to me." Night Sorrow said with a smile. "Ah, 13, you really know how to talk. Who knows how many people in Medicine Valley are thinking about senior sister?" Emochin said with a smile after hearing Night Sorrow's words. "You still have the cheek to laugh? 13 is back safely. If anything happens, you'll be in trouble." Aoi glared at Emochin. Then they talked about the mission. Night Sorrow gave a simple explanation. "You're saying that the woman called Sikong killed the Purple Gold Beast King? A peak rank 4 Purple Gold Beast King?" Aoi asked with surprise. Chapter 77. 13, you reached bronze rank in Tianji Tower. That's insane. Aoi looked at the bronze token in Night Sorrow's hand in astonishment. "Yes, after turning in all the missions today, I reached bronze rank. This way, I can save some points by exchanging for medicinal pills," Night Sorrow said with a smile as he put away the bronze token. "Exchanging for medicinal pills? What kind of medicinal pills do you want?" Aoi poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow and asked. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, I want to exchange for soul-strengthening pills. Sikong said that using 3 soul-strengthening pills in Yuan Gathering Realm is a bit too much. Using 2 is about the same, so I want to exchange for 2, Night Sorrow said. "You have a lot of points, don't you? Or do you think that Taishin Peak doesn't have any medicinal pills? Do you still need to exchange for soul-strengthening pills? You'll have them when you reach Yuan Gathering Realm." Aoi stared at Night Sorrow. Emochin then smiled and told Night Sorrow that when they were in Yuan Gathering Realm, Taishin Peak gave them 3 soul-strengthening pills. However, because of Yu Yangyu's restrictions, everyone could only take 1 or 2 pills. 13, during this period of time, you've been going back and forth on missions, so your foundation is very stable. In the following time, you should work hard on your cultivation. Wait until your cultivation reaches the element gathering tier before you go on missions. Before you advance, Don't touch any bronze missions, Qing Ji said to Yishang. She was very worried that Yishang would recklessly take on a bronze mission. Okay, 6th senior sister, I understand, Night Sorrow said with a nod. 13. Do you plan to return to Taishan Peak or stay here to cultivate? Emotion asked. I think it's the same anywhere, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. How about this? 11. Go back and tell Master about the situation here. I'll stay here to guard your 9th senior sister and guide 13's cultivation. Also, when you come again, bring back all the resources that belong to 13, Aoi said to Emochin. Ever since 13 came, 11 has lost his position and became an errand boy, Emochin said with a sigh. You talk too much, you talk too much. Qing Ji grabbed the towel on the table and threw it at Emochin. Emochin laughed and ran away. After chatting with Aoi for a while, Night Sorrow went back to the 2nd floor. He couldn't handle Aoi's questions were all about Sikong. In a private room on the top floor of the Celestial Extreme Tower, Sikong stood in front of the window while Enforcer Dong stood not far behind her. Enforcer Dong, how many people know that I'm here? Sikong turned around and asked Enforcer Dong. No one knows. My lord, you said that the Purple Gold Beast King's mission was a trap. Could it be targeted at my lord? Is it a coincidence? Enforcer Dong said with uncertainty. Some time ago, the Eastern Xian region headquarters sent people here. They said they sent people to all the Tier 1 cities, right? Keep an eye on the person sent over. Also, find someone absolutely reliable to go to the Golden Purple City to see what's going on in the Extreme Heaven Tower. That mission was reported from there, so it shouldn't be wrong. After pondering for a while, Sikong Chuyu made some arrangements. My lord, you're saying that someone noticed you coming to Danding City? Enforcer Dong said with surprise. Yes, those uncles at home are still up to no good. They probably found out that I came to the Eastern Xian region. I'll have to hide for a while, Sikong Chu said. Then where are you going? That won't do. If you don't have anyone by your side and something happens, how am I going to explain it to madam? Enforcer Dong panicked when he heard Sikong Chuyu's words. I won't go too far. I'll stay in Danding City. It'll be best if no one notices me coming to Danding City. Even if they do, they won't think I'm still in Danding City after I disappear. Danding City will be the best place for me to hide, Sikong Chuyu said. I understand. I'll arrange a place for you to stay immediately. Enforcer Dong bowed and was about to leave. No need. I have somewhere to go. If something happens, I'll go to Enforcer Dong's house. Also, prepare 2 yuan boosting pills for me, Sikong Chuyu said to Enforcer Dong. My lord, what do you need those low-grade pills for? Enforcer Dong didn't understand. For this Purple Gold Beast King mission, if it wasn't for Night Sorrow, I wouldn't have been able to come back. He might need the yuan boosting pills. Sikong Chuyu didn't hide anything from Enforcer Dong. After receiving the yuan boosting pills, Sikong Chuyu left Tianji Tower and found a beast carriage. He circled around Danding City a few times before arriving at Night Sorrow's house on Longquan Mountain. After arriving at the house, Sikong Chuyu immediately informed the house's housekeeper, Xiao Lu, that he wanted to see Night Sorrow. After hearing Xiao Lu's message, Night Sorrow came to the house. He was very curious. Who would want to see him? When he saw Sikong Chuyu in a white robe and a purple veil outside the door, Night Sorrow was stunned. He quickly walked a few steps forward and opened the door. Sikong, why are you here? Can I take refuge? Sikong Chuyu smiled as he entered the house with the veil. Stop joking. Who can threaten you? Night Sorrow smiled as he brought Sikong Chuyu in. I'm not joking. I've run into some trouble. Can I stay with you for a while? Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow seriously. Of course, it doesn't matter how long. Night Sorrow could tell that Sikong Chuyu was serious. That's good. Sikong Chuyu smiled and nodded. 6th senior sister, this is my good friend Sikong Chuyu. Night Sorrow introduced Sikong Chuyu to Aoi as they entered the hall. Hello, I'm Sikong Chuyu. Sikong Chuyu nodded at Aoi. I'm Aoi, Night Sorrow's 6th senior sister. Aoi stood up and said. At the same time, she sized up Sikong Chuyu. She was shocked because Sikong Chuyu was much younger than her, but his cultivation was higher than hers. Sixth senior sister, please take a seat. I'll arrange a place for Sikong to stay. Night Sorrow said to Aoi. Then he led Sikong Chuyu outside. What? She's moving in? Aoi's expression changed. It was normal for someone to visit, but it was a bit ridiculous for someone to move in. Sikong is in some trouble, so he's moving in. Night Sorrow nodded. 13, do you know what cultivation level he is? He's at the spirit severing stage. Will he be in trouble? Aoi looked at Sikong Chuyu. Chapter 78. Sikong, wait a moment. Sixth senior sister, there must be a misunderstanding. Sikong and I have known each other for a long time. She has helped me a lot during our missions. Night Sorrow stood in front of Sikong and said to Aoi. 13, I should also trust the people you trust. Even if they have ulterior motives, I should trust them with you. But your ninth senior sister is in seclusion. Aoi was in a difficult position. After hearing Sikong Chuyu's words and seeing Sikong Chuyu's clear eyes, she knew that Sikong Chuyu didn't have any bad intentions. But she couldn't afford to gamble. Night Sorrow, your sixth senior sister's words are reasonable. It's fine, move aside. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Sixth senior sister, no matter who it is, if they want to hurt my ninth senior sister, they will have to step over my dead body. But I really can't let my friends be disappointed. Sikong, I will accompany you to find a suitable place in the city. Night Sorrow stepped aside and walked outside. He knew that Aoi did the right thing. After all, she didn't know Sikong Chuyu. Alright, go arrange a place for her. Don't go to the lake. Aoi sat down. She knew that Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu had a good relationship. If Sikong Chuyu left the courtyard, then Night Sorrow would never be able to untie the knot in his heart. I will go later. I will accompany sixth senior sister to have a cup of tea. Sikong Chuyu entered the hall and sat down. I am very sorry. If it was any other time, I would welcome 13th's friends with a banquet. But my junior sister is in seclusion, so I cannot drink. Is it? I understand. It is your junior brother and sister's fortune to have a senior sister like you. Sikong Chuyu said as he took a sip of tea. My junior brothers and sisters don't come from good backgrounds. They are all orphans and I am their elder sister. 13, go and arrange a place for Miss Sikong to stay. Aoi waved at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow took a look and left with little 6 when he felt that there was no problem. Sikong, 13 is Night Sorrow. He's still young and doesn't know anything about beauty. His friendship with you is genuine. He doesn't have any friends, so I hope you won't hurt him in the future. Aoi sighed. She knew that Sikong Chuyu was destined to be a hurdle in Night Sorrow's life. Sikong Chuyu was too beautiful. Aoi had seen countless people, but she had never seen a woman with a better figure, appearance, and temperament than Sikong Chuyu. It might not be a big deal now, but when Sikong Chuyu's life changed in the future, Night Sorrow would be a hurdle. I know. Genuine friendship is hard to come by. He saved my life the day before yesterday and his back is still full of scars. So I won't hurt him. I just don't understand. Do I look like a bad person when I call you sixth senior sister? Sikong Chuyu was really in a dilemma. Aoi seemed to think that she would definitely hurt Night Sorrow. That's not what I meant. You'll understand slowly. If I offended you in any way, I'm sorry. Aoi cupped her hands and said. Sikong Chuyu shook her head. She really didn't mind. She knew very well that Aoi had been protecting her junior brother and sister ever since they met. The three of them had dinner together. Night Sorrow finished his food quickly and nodded at Aoi and Sikong Chuyu. Sixth senior sister, Sikong, I'm going to cultivate. Looking at Night Sorrow's back, Aoi shook her head helplessly. How heartless. You're right to be worried about him. He's as simple as a blank piece of paper, Sikong Chuyu said. Aoi didn't go to rest. She had to pay attention to the safety of the courtyard because Yang Lei was about to break through to the 5th rank. This period of time was too crucial. Sikong Chuyu didn't go to rest either. Instead, she played chess with Aoi in the hall to pass the time. The two of them only ended the game when the sun rose. "Thank you for spending the night with me," Aoi said after putting away the game. Sikong Chuyu shook her head. She really admired Aoi's care for her junior brother and sister. It could be said that she cared for her junior brother and sister very much. "You guys are so early?" Night Sorrow came down with a towel. "Early my ass. I'm going to sleep. If anyone comes, wake me up immediately. Remember, no matter who it is, Sikong, you should go rest too." Aoi stretched her back and left the hall to rest. "My senior sister didn't sleep the whole night?" Night Sorrow asked in surprise. Yes. Although she could sense the movements in the courtyard while meditating, she was nervous and felt uneasy. Sikong Chuyu said, "Then you stayed with my senior sister for the whole night? Hurry up and rest." Yi Shang could tell and had also heard Qin Ji's words. "Rest? I still don't know where I'm staying." Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Night Sorrow did arrange a place for her but didn't bring her there. She didn't know where it was. Night Sorrow smiled awkwardly and hurriedly brought Sikong Chuyu to a pavilion not far from the bamboo building. When they reached the pavilion, Sikong Chuyu turned around. "Take care of your body. If you feel any discomfort, tell me. Don't let me know if there's any residual poison." Night Sorrow smiled and waved his hand and left. He still had to practice his spear arts and mountain suppression hand. The next few days were peaceful. Sikong Chuyu and Aoi's relationship was getting better and better. Sikong Chuyu respected Aoi and Aoi knew how to interact with people. Her impression of Sikong Chuyu was getting better and better. One evening, when the three were eating, Emo-chin came. When he saw Sikong Chuyu, he was stunned. 13, you're amazing. You even brought a beauty home." When Emo-chin said this, Sikong Chuyu's face flushed red. Night Sorrow was also a bit stunned. He knew what Emo-chin meant. "H new $max T0 fast up, what nonsense are you talking about? You can't even handle your own matters and you're worried about 13? Aoi glared at Emo-chin. "Sixth senior sister, I still need you to solve my problems." Emo-chin sighed. "You need sixth senior sister to solve your problems? Then tell me, who do you like? I'll help you think of a way." Aoi said to Emo-chin. 13, what do you think I should do? I saw her today." Emo-chin looked at Night Sorrow. "I'll tell sixth senior sister in a bit." Yi Shang knew who Emo-chin was referring to when he said he saw her. It must be Chu Lingzhao's cousin, Chu Lingfei. "Okay, it doesn't matter what I do." Emo-chin nodded and sat down to eat. He knew there were some things he had to face. Night Sorrow went to talk to Aoi to avoid any awkwardness. After eating, Emo-chin glanced at Yi Shang and left. He was very conflicted. On one side was his senior sister whom he respected greatly, and on the other side was his lover who had waited for him for more than 10 years. If this matter was not resolved, it would be a torture for him. He hoped that Yi Shang's face would be big enough for Qin Ji to give in. "This is the aura of the 5th rank," Aoi said excitedly. "Yes, this is the aura of a 5th rank cultivator. Night Sorrow, your 9th senior sister succeeded." Sikong Chuyu said. "9th senior sister is coming out. Let's drink together." Night Sorrow was very happy for Yang Lei. Among the senior brothers and sisters, Yang Lei was the most protective. Therefore, Night Sorrow felt that Yang Lei was the easiest to get along with. "How can it be so fast? I still need a few days to stabilize my cultivation. But I can drink now," Aoi said with a smile. 6th senior sister, does that mean that 9th senior sister is now the strongest among the second-generation disciples in the Medicine Valley? Emo-chin was very excited when he heard that Yang Lei had successfully broken through. In terms of cultivation, she should be the strongest. But in terms of actual combat, there are still strong people in the second generation of the Medicine Valley. For example, eldest senior brother killed a 5th rank cultivator a few years ago. That Chu Lingxiao is not simple either. Just thinking about that bastard makes me angry. Aoi opened the wine jar and said, With Yang Lei's successful breakthrough, the others relaxed. Aoi, Emochin, Night Sorrow, and Sikong Chuyu drank together. It should be called tasting wine because the green blood wine was too strong. Only Night Sorrow could drink it in big mouthfuls. These are your cultivation resources, Soul Gathering Pill and Soul Increasing Pill. Master only gave you 2 Soul Increasing Pills. Take them when you are in the 3rd and 7th level of the Soul Gathering Pill. After drinking 2 mouthfuls of wine, Emochin took out a small bag and threw it to Night Sorrow. That was the cultivation resource that the sect gave to Night Sorrow. What's in this bottle? Night Sorrow opened the bag and found 2 different bottles. It's Cauldron Spirit Liquid. It's so depressing. Emochin pursed his lips and said after introducing it. What's Cauldron Spirit Liquid? Night Sorrow opened the bottle and sniffed it before asking. 6th Senior Sister, isn't it shameful to show off? Emochin didn't answer Night Sorrow's question. Instead, he looked at Aoi. It's indeed shameful to show off. But what I want to say is that 13 doesn't know what this Cauldron Spirit Liquid does. Aoi said with a smile. Then Aoi told Night Sorrow about the origin and effects of the Cauldron Spirit Liquid. The Cauldron Spirit Liquid was a kind of spirit liquid produced by the 8-Dragon Cauldron, which was the most precious spiritual weapon of the Medicine Valley. It was produced at a special place on Danding Cliff. The Cauldron Spirit Liquid was produced by the 8-Dragon Cauldron by condensing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. However, it was extremely rare. Only 10 to 20 drops were produced in a year. In the Medicine Valley, only heaven-grade disciples were qualified to use it. Elders and king-grade disciples weren't qualified to use it. Then why did you give it to me? Night Sorrow asked in surprise. You don't know, right? Right now, your security level in the Medicine Valley is heaven-grade. Your cultivation resources are also the same as heaven-grade disciples, but you don't have the strength and status of a heaven-grade disciple, Aoi said. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow figured it out. It should be the benefits that he handed in the sacred cauldron scripture himself. 13. This is good stuff. In our Taishan Peak, only the eldest senior brother and the 9th senior sister have used this stuff, Emochin said as he stared at the Cauldron Spirit Liquid. What's the benefit? Night Sorrow asked as he closed the bottle. It can't help the user directly improve their cultivation, but it can condense their true chi and strengthen their body. The most amazing thing is that it won't cause any inner demons. Everyone has a soul. It's invisible and untouchable, but it really exists. It's just like how some people have sensitive senses and some people have clear eyes. The hidden effect of the Cauldron Spirit Liquid is to strengthen the soul, so you won't suffer from chi deviation in the future, Aoi said. Then there are 2 bottles here. Senior sister and senior brother, take them. Sikong, if I have more in the future, I'll give it to you. Night Sorrow handed the 2 bottles of Cauldron Spirit Liquid to Aoi and Emochin. $, plus permanent/free to read novel. What are you doing? This is your cultivation resource, not ours. Keep it. Aoi glared at Night Sorrow. 6th senior sister, my cultivation is going well. I don't really need this. Night Sorrow shook his head. Chapter 80. After looking at Aoi and Emochin, Night Sorrow put away the liquid. He understood that Aoi and Emochin had their own pride. They wouldn't want something that didn't belong to them. By the way, I have something to tell you. Just like Master, the 9-Een Peak Master has also accepted a personal disciple. I think the 9-Een Peak is going to win the rookie competition this time. Emochin's expression was somewhat unnatural. What's going on? Does 13 not have a chance? Aoi put down her wine glass. Z. It's the beast baby that Tycoon, the head disciple of the 9-Een Peak, brought back a few years ago. Back then, the Valley Master saw him and said that he was very talented. He was born with bronze muscles and iron bones. Later, the Valley Master brought him to the medicine hut to eliminate his wild nature. 2 months ago, the Valley Master sent the beast baby back to the 9-Een Peak. The 9-Een Peak's master, Su Chunbai, announced that the beast baby's wild nature was not much left, so he took him in as a disciple. Emochin told the news he had heard when he returned this time. I've heard of that beast child. When he was brought back, he directly injured a few servants, Aoi said. When I went to collect resources for 13, I met the kid that Tai-kun brought along. He also went to collect resources. He said that he had worn away his bestial nature, but his eyes were filled with sinister and treacherous intent. It made people's hair stand on end. At that time, Tai-kun showed off to me, saying that the beast doll was also going to participate in the newcomer competition and wanted our Taishin Peak to be prepared. The beast doll smiled at me and did a neck-breaking gesture. Emochin said, "Bastard, the 9-in Peak is doing this on purpose," Aoi cursed. Su Chenbai doesn't get along well with Master. Of course, he wouldn't let go of an opportunity to attack Taishin Peak. That Showa shouldn't be called Showa anymore. He should be called Su Mu. That's the name Su Chenbai gave him, Emochin said. This Su Chenbai is really a piece of sh*t. What's Su Mu's cultivation base? Boyest. 5th layer of element gathering tier. He was born with an extraordinary talent and has the ability to battle above his cultivation level, Emochin said. Night Sorrow got up and left. When he reached the stairs, he said, I will work hard to cultivate. Watching Night Sorrow leave, Aoi glared at Emochin. She knew that this news was a huge blow to Night Sorrow because Yang had said that he would either not participate in the battle of the best newcomers, or he would have to put on a good show. Under such circumstances, how could Night Sorrow allow himself to lose? Emochin rubbed his forehead forcefully. That was not his original intention. He was just talking about it. Because of Su Mu's participation, the competition between the rookies had reached a point where nothing could be done. Believe in him. As long as he wants to, then he will be able to do it. 5th level of element gathering tier is much higher than Night Sorrow. As long as you give Night Sorrow enough time, this won't be a problem, Sikong Chu said. There is not much time. There is less than half a year left. The annual sect competition is held 3 months before the disciple recruitment event, Aoi said. Emochin shook his head. This system was not perfect. Some outer sect disciples had already cultivated for several years, so how could this be considered a competition between the rookies? Even if Su Mu was grinding his wild nature in the medicinal hut, the Valley Master could not possibly not teach him anything. He must have meditated. Returning to his room on the 2nd floor, Night Sorrow took out a blood essence pill and ate it. Then, he ate half a spirit congealing pill and began to cultivate. He did not want to embarrass Taishin Peak because of himself. In the next few days, Night Sorrow did not come out much. He ate fasting pills and continued to cultivate. On the 4th day, Night Sorrow came out. He did not come out of his own will, but was dragged out by Yang Lei. After coming out of seclusion, Yang Lei learned about Night Sorrow's situation in the past few days. She immediately went to the 2nd floor and pulled Night Sorrow out of his room. 9th senior sister, you came out of seclusion. Congratulations. Night Sorrow, who came out of the room, greeted Yang Lei. Yes, so everyone has to drink to celebrate, Yang Lei said with a smile. Sure San, if your 9th senior sister doesn't call you, are you going to stay here? Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and said, I plan to break through to the elemental gathering stage as soon as possible, Night Sorrow said. Well, take your time. Aoi nodded and said, everyone had a good time eating and drinking. Not to mention in the Medicine Valley, even in other top forces, it was a big deal for a member to enter the 5th stage. It was a sign of becoming a powerhouse. After eating, Night Sorrow walked around the courtyard with Sikong Chuyu, then went back to his room to cultivate. 6th senior sister, I plan to go back to Taishin Peak. I have to tell Master when I break through, Yang Lei said. Okay, you go back. You go back with 11th junior brother and take care of his business. Aoi told Yang Lei about Emochin and Chu Lingfei. Okay, if Chu Lingxiao dares to cause trouble, I'll fight him in the arena. He was stronger than me in the past, but now I have absolute confidence in defeating him, Yang Lei said. Then you two go back. I'll stay here and cultivate while watching Shirsan, Aoi said to Yang Lei and Emochin. Sixth senior sister, I told Shirsan about Su Mu. Did I provoke him? Emo Chen said apologetically. It's okay, he needs an opponent. Su Mu is ruthless, but Shirsan is definitely more ruthless than him. Su Chenbai wants to humiliate our Taishin peak, but it's hard to say who will be humiliated, Aoi said coldly. Sikong, if you have time, let's drink tea together. I'll go back with Shirsan first, Yang Lei said to Sikong Chiyu. After Yang Lei left, Sikong Chiyu said goodbye to Aoi and went back to his room to cultivate. Time passed quickly, and half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Night Sorrow had reached the peak of the 9th stage of Qi refining and had reached the bottleneck. After feeling that he could no longer refine the spiritual Qi of heaven and earth and the energy of alchemical pills, Night Sorrow came out of his room. He planned to calm down a bit before breaking through to the element gathering tier. The refining Qi tier and the element gathering tier were two different tiers. There was a huge difference in the amount of true Qi, and the quality of true Qi was also different. Although Yi Chang had defeated opponents in the 5th and 6th layer of element gathering tier, that was because he had relied on battle techniques and the strength of his body, not true Qi. There was a huge difference between the two tiers of true Qi. When Night Sorrow walked out of his room, he did not see Sikong and Aoi. He arranged for the servants to prepare some food and went to check on Tianyu. Lord Knight, this Tianyu can eat too much. He eats a wild beast a day, Little Six said. Feed him as much as he can eat. Here are the gold notes. Night Sorrow took out some gold notes and gave them to Little Six, then helped Tianyu comb his feathers. Tianyu had grown a lot taller. When he spread his wings, he had a surface area of 9.5 feet. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.